Hello and welcome to the course on ChatGPT and YouTube and how to earn money and start monetizing your channel now. We're going to be going over a ton of stuff in this course when it comes to either being an influencer when it comes to YouTube or setting up a fully AI automated YouTube channel. Welcome to the first lesson. I hope you're ready for a ton of information as we're going to jump into all the capabilities ChatGPT has when it comes to YouTube. All right, to start off, we're going to understand what ChatGPT is and its capabilities. So ChatGPT, if you're not familiar with it already, is a human-like language software that essentially we're able to talk to it like a chatbot, but the responses are a lot more advanced than we've seen in the past. What we need to take from this essentially is the idea that essentially treat ChatGPT as if it was an expert in any field. And what's important about knowing that is you can fine tune ChatGPT to go towards any field. So in the specific context we're dealing with, maybe we want to fine tune ChatGPT to be a YouTube expert and make SEO optimized titles and descriptions that we can use for this platform and so on. But all you need to know is that it's a natural language processing software and we're going to be able to utilize it effectively for YouTube. Jumping into the next section here, which is going to be understanding ChatGPT and its architecture. First, understand that it does machine learning. So what that means for us is that over time, ChatGPT will come with better and better models because it'll be able to understand previous outputs and what were effective based off user engagement. You know, that little check mark or the little thumbs up, thumbs down, they take that into account when pushing different models out. And as we see with future models, we're going to be able to get way more comprehensive answers like we saw with GPT-4. The next thing we need to know is that there's pattern recognition. And what that occurs for our specific context is it understands that, hey, humans tend to like it when a caption is phrased like this, or humans tend to like it when a paragraph in an article is phrased like this. It understands based off previous input how to do the next output. And then finally, it is a natural language processor, which is so important for us because that allows us to have the capability to talk to it like a human. Now, saying that, you can talk to it like a human, but there is still ways to format your prompts and structure the way you want to talk to ChatGPT in order to get the most effective output. Oh, what's that? That is some coffee. So at any time, you can take a break. This course material will always be here. I know I will be drinking coffee as we'll be going over a ton of information. I hope you got a notepad. I hope you got Google Docs open, Notion, whatever you use to take notes for educational courses. But for today, we're going to be going over the effective ways GPT can affect YouTube. So coming on, we need to understand as a broad arching that it is a natural language processor. And as you'll see throughout this tutorial, whether we're in ChatGPT or we're in Zapier, we're going to be talking to ChatGPT like a human, but structuring it with context, parameters, in different ways that we need to understand when dealing with temperature, token usage, and so on. If a lot of that doesn't make sense right now, don't worry. We jump in over everything I just described there in this course today. Congratulations, you finished the first lesson of this big course. I just wanted to go over a general idea of what ChatGPT and its possibilities and how we're going to talk to it. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next lesson. Hey, and welcome to lesson 2 of this course. We're going to be implementing all the API necessary to do everything you find in this full-blown course on how to implement ChatGPT with your YouTube channel. So the first thing we need to do is set up a OpenAI account. This is what's going to give us access to the API so we can integrate that with Zapier and start using ChatGPT in our Zapier flows. As always, the links to all of this information is found in the description below. But just to start off, I wanted to show you some pricing for OpenAI just so you know. As you can see, GPT-4, those kind of flows when it comes to the context of using 1,000 tokens is around 3 cents. And then for GPT 3.5, it's only 0.002 cents. So you'll understand what use cases will use 3.5 and 4. And then in addition, you'll understand the usage and understanding how to calculate token usage and stuff like that later in this course. But for now, I just wanted to give you a brief overview of the token cost. From here, what we can do is I'm going to go ahead and link this page in the description below. All you need to do is come up here and hit sign up. And once you hit sign up, go ahead, either put your email address in there or continue with Google, Microsoft, or Apple. From there, you're going to go ahead and create your OpenAI account. Okay, now that you've created your OpenAI account, we are going to need to make a Zapier account. This is going to allow for the automation between all the apps that we use in this course. Now, if you're not familiar with Zapier, essentially it allows you to take a bunch of different apps and connect its data, as you see here with this flow over here. We can jump over here and you can see all the different apps that Zapier has access to its API, which allows us to manipulate it with GPT. So any app you see here, we can now integrate ChatGPT with. For example, Twitter, we can make an AI automated Twitter post using ChatGPT. But for now, all you need to do is come up here to hit sign up, and it's completely free to start. And you'll be able to say get started for free and sign up with any of these types of accounts. And just so you can see the pricing right here, you'll be able to sign up for the free plan, which allows you to set up Zapier flows that we can use in this course. All right, now that you made your Zapier account, the next account you're going to want to make is a Cynthia account. And Cynthia essentially allows for AI videos to be made. As you see here, you can check out the landing page yourself, but essentially this is what allows us to make AI videos with pretext with ChatGPT. So for example, I can make an AI video with ChatGPT giving the entire script and then generate this automatically to be pushed to YouTube. You'll learn more about this in this course, but for now, go ahead and make sure to sign up for a Cynthia account if you're interested in learning on the aspects of how to leverage this as well. Finally, we're going to want to make a Banner Bear account. This allows us to use image creation when it comes to ChatGPT and allows us to basically create templates that will be automatically generated. For example, our specific use case will be for thumbnails. So make sure to check out the link down below. Make your Banner Bear account. Is completely free to start. And essentially what you'll notice is this will allow us to make thumbnails like this, where we can automatically input a title on a thumbnail, a subtitle on the thumbnail, an image for the thumbnail. We'll be able to do a ton of stuff when it comes to Banner Bear and its integration with Zapier and ChatGPT. Okay, now that you've created all the accounts, let's connect them. To start off, let's connect OpenAI. All you need to do is come to your little profile right here and say view API keys. Once you've viewed your API keys, you're going to create a new secret key. You'll name that key, and then you'll copy the key that is provided. Once you have the key that has been copied from the API of OpenAI, you can go ahead and come over here to this side of Zapier, go to My Apps, and we'll be able to come right here. And you're going to want to go ahead and connect ChatGPT by just saying add connection. And then you're going to also want to connect OpenAI. And OpenAI, the reason we're also connecting OpenAI is because it's going to give us access to DALL-E. And with DALL-E, we're going to be able to use image creation, but also we'll be able to get access to Whisper, which is going to allow us to create transcripts automatically. But essentially, just paste your API key that you found in your OpenAI account profile here, and you'll be able to connect both. Now, when it comes to Banner Bear and Cynthia, all you need to do is find Banner Bear and add connection, and then all you need to do is basically find the project key and the project API key. So let's go ahead and find that in Banner Bear real quick. Okay, so once you're in Banner Bear, I'm gonna go to projects. I'm gonna create another project here, and we're gonna call it YouTube course. Save that, and we're gonna have all of our templates that we plan on using in YouTube course right here. And all you need to do to get the key is go settings, API key, and then copy this, press this, copied, come back over and paste it here, and you'll be good to go, and you'll be able to start with Banner Bear connection with Zapier. Lastly, we will be looking up Cynthia, which is going to be the AI video software. It's going to click here. We're going to add a new connection, and from my understanding, it should just be a login. Oh, no, it is an API key. So let me go ahead and grab the API key. All right, so once you're in Cynthia, all we need to do is come down to our profile here. We're going to hit settings. Once we're in settings, we're going to go ahead and hit integration, and then we're just going to be able to create a key by saying add, copy it, come back over here, paste it in there, and you're good to go. Okay, perfect. That is all the accounts we'll need in today's course. If you feel like you won't even use the AI video, don't even make an account with Cynthia. If you feel like you won't use automatic thumbnails, don't make an account with Banner Bear, and so on. Only apply any account that you feel like you'll be leveraging in today's course. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Okay, so welcome to the next lesson here, where we're going to look at YouTube as a platform for earning money. So overall, when deciding to create your YouTube channel, or if you already have a YouTube channel, you want to make sure you have a niche that you can orientate your content to due to the fact of how YouTube algorithm works. So the first niche that you could bring up is possibly beauty and makeup. So in the context of AI automation, maybe we build out templates that automatically take a makeup product, give descriptions and context through a video of how to use said makeup product. Another possible situation here is you could be a general influencer. So maybe you do vlogs, maybe you curate content based off your Instagram or TikTok and use YouTube as a platform for more long form content. The next one possibly could be travel. So maybe you go to different places and you essentially record your trips in a vlog format, or alternatively, through AI automation, we can set up a automatic video of, for example, Bali, Indonesia. All the 5 most top areas visited in Bali, Indonesia. On top of that, we can give, hotel recommendations, car recommendations, all writing on the back of ChatGPT. And with AI automation, we can set up a schedule that essentially puts out a different location every single day and the benefits of that location. Another possible niche could be art. And more specifically for AI automation, we could really lean into AI art and implement integration with AI generated art put onto a YouTube channel that's then described, and then maybe we even push that even further into creating an automatic article and so on. Art could be a great niche. Another great niche is fitness. People tend to like long form content when it comes to fitness, when it comes to workout routines, diet plans. AI works perfectly for this because we'll be able to set up automatic AI generated shorts or YouTube films on maybe diet plans or maybe workout routines that work effectively, and make sure we do this all on the back end. Another possible niche could be food. This could be a great possible niche in the context of maybe you want to have an automatic AI short that says how to cook the best pasta, or maybe you want to do a short on how to essentially create a meal plan that works perfectly with your diet in this context of being a great chef on your YouTube channel, and set up, automatic thumbnails with every YouTube video you create. Another possible niche would be education. This is a broad niche, but education is a great niche to go into because a lot of people use YouTube as their second search engine when asking questions, and AI automation can really help you narrow down on the type of questions that could be asked in the type of education niche you're in, such as Adobe Photoshop, graphic design, web development, and so on. And finally, another really good niche could be tech reviews, using AI automation to basically input a product, have it give the specs of the product, the 5 benefits of the product, and so on. AI has come a long way, and we're going to be able to leverage that either as an influencer or setting up a fully AI automated channel. I hope you found this lesson beneficial. I just want to give you a broad idea of the different niches you could dive into when creating your AI automated YouTube channel. If you're already created a YouTube channel and you're more of an influencer, we're still going to get a bunch of great use cases out of this course, as we're going to jump into a bunch of stuff you can leverage as ChatGPT is going to become more integrated in our YouTube journey. Welcome to the next lesson in this course, where we're going to be looking at ChatGPT prompts that are going to allow us to niche down and find our target audience for YouTube. As always, you can find the prompts discussed in this video in the link down below. Download the PDF that we use over here, and you're going to be able to leverage it for your own personal YouTube channel. All right, so I went ahead and jumped over to the PDF. Let's go ahead and get our first prompt here, which is going to be YouTube niche discovery. So maybe based off the previous video, you're like, okay, these are a bunch of niches. I'm not really too sure what's going to be perfect match for me personally. This is going to help you out here. So let's go ahead and copy that. All right, so once we have a copy, I'm going to go ahead and paste here. And we're going to go ahead and have GPT fill in the interest, passions, and target audience. This is going to help you see the structuring for how you want to input it, but also just gives you like a random idea of what could possibly occur here. So I'm just going to say, please fill in the variables with examples. And I'm going to do semicolon, enter, and then let's go ahead and see what this prompt can come up with. Okay, so as you see here, with the interest being fitness, healthy eating, mindfulness, technology, and literature, honestly, a really broad amount of stuff here. And running, cooking, meditation, gadget reviews, writing, and the target audience being individuals aged 18 to 40, interested in healthy lifestyles, mindfulness, and tech savvy. GPT was able to come up with 5 main niches that you could possibly work in, which is going to be fitness and running guides. That's pretty interesting. Healthy cooking vlog, meditation and mindfulness talks, tech gadget reviews, and literature review writing tips. And with anything, when it comes to YouTube, whatever you start off with, you want to make sure you're very niche down. You don't want to start your channel too broad. So what I would suggest you to do is, out of the suggestions that it gives you here, choose the one that you feel like you can really have a passion for and do long term and create content for. Now let's go ahead and play around with this prompt a little bit more. Let's see if it'll be able to understand this following inquiry, which is, out of these prompts, which would, or let's say out of these niches, which would be the easiest to do from home. And then, as we know, with GPT, it's able to understand pre-context, so we'll be able to understand which one is the best one to do from home. And it looks like it chose the meditation and mindfulness talks. And basically it's basing off what we just had inputted here, but it's doing more like niches that, maybe you just want to do a YouTube channel and stay within your home and not necessarily have to, run and do a vlog and so on. The next prompt we're going to look at today is going to be the YouTube content ideas. So once you found and picked your niche, we got to create content for it. And let's figure out a list of different ideas that could be really well associated with our type of niche. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paste that. We're just going to go ahead and put on our YouTube niche here. Let's go with the YouTube niche of meditation and mindfulness talks. And then let's just go with the audience that we outlined here, that we want individuals 18 to 40, healthy lifestyle, mindfulness, and tech savvy. We'll go with just up to mindfulness. And then we'll go ahead and put that in here. And let's see what type of content GPT comes up with for this prompt. Okay, perfect. So as you see here, we got intro to mindfulness, an introductory video explaining what mindfulness is, its benefits, and how it can be incorporated in daily lives. Guided meditation sessions, mindfulness exercises, meditations for stress relief, and so on. As you see, there's a ton of different content ideas, and we can take it one step further. And let's just say we like this guided meditation sessions. We can go ahead and say, based on this content idea, what would be a 5-video playlist? Do semicolon, and then we're going to insert that. And then here we go. We're going to get a 5-video playlist based around that topic. And you could possibly make a playlist to start off your YouTube channel. So it gave the introduction to guided meditation for video 1, and then all the way down to guided meditation for deep relaxation. Really, really powerful stuff here. And one thing I want to point out real quick is that if you have intentions of doing a completely AI automated, a faceless YouTube channel, don't worry. These still have value, as you're going to be able to apply the stuff we learned here about your niche into the different Zapier flows we create. All right, so now that we have our niche, we understand different content that can be associated with niche. Let's go ahead and look at our next prompt here, which is going to be YouTube growth strategies. So we have our niche. Just go ahead and grab it real quick. It's going to be meditation and mindfulness talks. And then let's go ahead and grab the same target audience. And let's see what strategies GPT has for us in order to grow and, develop in this niche. All right, so as you see here, it gives us 6 different tips here, such as consistent posting schedule, high quality content, engage with your audience, collaborations, SEO optimization, if I can speak, and hashtags, and promote on other platforms. What's great about what we're going to learn in today's course is we're going to be able to have consistent posting schedules, create high quality content, have collaborations, have SEO optimization, hashtags based off data sets, and so on. We're going to be able to do a ton of stuff when it comes to other flows in this course to solve these things. But overall, when you're running a YouTube channel, you always want to have a good understanding of hey, what type of hashtags perform well in my niche? What type of things, gets the best kind of engagement from our audience when understanding, YouTube analytics. Lastly, for this video, we're going to look at the YouTube hashtag research. I think this is a very valuable prompt, as this is going to give you an idea of essentially the type of hashtags that you want to kind of build into and make sure you have an authority over in your niche. So as you see here, we got our list of hashtags that is specific to our niche, even with a description of why that specific hashtag was taken. Now, in the context that you don't want a description and you just kind of want straight hashtags, you can always say generate just the hashtags and the 10 most important. Enter here, and then we're just going to get the 10 most important hashtags when it comes to our specific niche on YouTube. I hope you learned something in today's video. Go ahead and check out those prompts in the description below. Download that PDF and start playing around with them yourself. Find your niche. As we jump into later videos of this tutorial, we're going to build out way more ways we can apply this to our YouTube channel. But for now, I'll see you in the next video where we go over partnerships and collaboration for your YouTube channel. Welcome back to the course. We're going to be looking at today building partnerships and collaborations, and we're going to be diving into some pretty interesting ChatGPT prompts today. Go ahead and download the PDF down below and you'll be able to get access to the prompts we use in today's course. But let's go ahead and start off with our first prompt here, which is going to be YouTube collaboration ideas. So where all we need to do is go ahead and copy this. Let's go back over to GPT. We're just going to paste, and essentially we need a niche and target audience. But what I like to do so y'all can get an understanding of structuring is I always have GPT input the variable for me because that gives you the best way to format your input. So let's go ahead and do that. Fill in the variables with examples, semicolon, and then from here, it will identify, okay, we're doing the niche of cooking and food, the target audience of young adults and college students interested in learning to cook on a budget. So for this niche, we got 5 different suggestions. We got collaboration idea, dorm room cooking challenges. Another one was collaboration idea, grocery store budget battles, fast food makeovers, cultural cuisine exchange, cooking with celebrity or influencer. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with one of these. So let's say the collaboration idea is fast food makeover, which is partner with a health and fitness YouTuber to create fast food makeover series in which you recreate popular fast food items with healthier ingredients. Pretty interesting. What we can do here is we can grab that headline and say, based on this collab idea, generate the amount of episodes this should be in a playlist. Obviously, whatever your niche is and target audience is, you're going to get drastically different outputs. But for our niche and audience today, we're going to go ahead and use this, and we're going to go ahead and see what it comes up with. So I didn't paste the collaboration idea of fast food makers on accident, but as you see here, it's actually doing it for every single one of the ideas, which is nice. Dorm room cooking challenge, 10 episodes. Each episode can feature a different guest and a unique culinary challenge tailored to the dorm room environment. Grocery store budget battle, 5 episodes. Fast food makeover, 7 episodes, and so on. So, for example, if I were to take fast food makeovers and say, for this idea, semicolon, then I'll paste it, generate the title for each episode. Now you can see how intricate GPT can get when it comes to really creating content and understanding the direction your YouTube channel could possibly go. As you see here, for these 7 episodes, it's giving us examples of different things that apply for that specific topic, such as revamping the classic, a healthier Big Mac makeover, and so on. Pretty cool stuff here, pretty powerful stuff here. Okay, so our next prompt we have here is going to be the YouTube influencer outreach. We're going to go ahead and paste that, and let's go ahead and use the same niche and the same target audience so we can stay consistent here. We're going to do that. We're going to paste, and let's see what GPT comes up with. So for our niche, it gave us these 6 tips when approaching potential influencers to work with. Do your homework, personalize your pitch, present a clear value proposition, suggest specific collaboration ideas, be professional yet approachable, and follow up, but don't be a nag. Now let's give an example here. Let's say personalized pitch. We're going to go ahead and say, give me an example of a good personalized pitch. The purposes of these prompts is really to encourage you to jump into fine-tuned conversations with YouTube and specifically ChatGPT's thoughts on YouTube for your niche. So don't be afraid to take parts of its output and really dive deeper into understanding the best way to approach the different suggestions it has. As you see here, we have a nice little potential email that could be sent to a channel that fits for the fast food makeover, with giving a lot of content and a lot of context of what essentially they would expect, what they essentially would want to do as a collaborative partner. I hope you learned something in today's video on how to build partnerships, how to get different collaboration ideas, how to reach out to influencers, and so on. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. So in this lesson, we're going to be going over ChatGPT prompts that are specialized to building your profile on YouTube. As always, you can download them in the link down below. That's going to be a nice little PDF that we've created for you. And we're going to go ahead and start with our first ChatGPT prompt here, which goes over YouTube video description. Okay, all we need to do is go ahead and just drag over the prompts, press Command C. Just need to paste. And as always, I like doing for the first prompt here is just having GPT fill in the example so we know how to perfectly prompt structure it. So we're just going to go ahead and say fill in the variables with examples, semicolon, and let's see what GPT comes up with. Okay, so GPT came up with the type of video content is a step-by-step cooking tutorial on how to make vegan versions of classical Italian dishes with special guests and Chef Angela. Target audience is vegan food enthusiasts and those interested in Italian cuisine, looking for ways to expand their culinary repertoire. And the key takeaways is understanding basics of vegan cooking. And as you see here, we got a nice little description here with some emojis integrated with it, and then also key takeaways to take from the said lesson that you're creating on YouTube. One thing I'd like to point out here is the importance of key takeaways when you put those in your YouTube description. These are pretty valuable when it comes to metadata and SEO when people are searching up different topics on YouTube. Now that you know how to use this prompt, you can go ahead and use this prompt for any type of context. For when you upload a YouTube video, you just fill in those two little bracket variables there and you'll be able to get a description that is niche down and specific to your specific content that you are uploading. So our next prompt we're going to be looking at here is going to be the YouTube channel About Me section. So when you set up your YouTube channel, you're going to have an About Me section. Let's go ahead and optimize our About Me section to fit our niche the best. I'm going to go ahead and paste that. Then the content focus, we're going to go ahead and stay within the realm of what we had here. So we're going to go say our content focus is vegan cooking. And then for personal background, let's go ahead and ask, actually, we'll go ahead and enter in that ourselves. We'll go ahead and say that our personal background is we were a chef for 5 years. And then this is where you'd give it your experience and, you know, background between your niche of like why you feel like you have authority within your niche. And then the next part, we have unique selling points. We offer creative vegan dishes and cookbooks. Obviously, the more information you provide, the better the output will be. But for now, let's go ahead and see what this About Me would look like. So as you see here, we got our niche specific YouTube About Me that you could add to your customization section of your YouTube channel, such as what makes our channel unique. Additionally, not only do we share random for recipes through our videos, but we also craft them into cookbooks, basically getting all the key metrics that you inputted as the into the variable here, and then adding a CTA, so why subscribe, because every week we'll provide you with a delicious dose of vegan cooking inspiration and so on. Overall, a very effective About Me section you can add to your YouTube channel. The final prompt I want to go over in today's video is going to be the default upload prompt. This is going to allow you to set up essentially, you know, when you press customization and then you say default upload, you're going to be able to paste this output there and you're going to have it there. So, you know, overall in your description, you're going to have, you know, less time spent on it because of the fact that you already have certain stuff that's always going to be there throughout all your videos, if that makes sense. All right, from here, we're just going to go ahead and paste that in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have GPT fill in these variables so we can get a better idea that's not maybe cooking associated. We're going to say, please fill in the variables with examples. Do semicolon. And then let's see what it comes up with. For the variables inputted, we got do-it-yourself home decor tutorials, the focus being substantial, home decor, and do-it-yourself crafting. And then the target audience, eco-conscious individuals. So that has been filled in over here. And then from there, the default upload settings is going to be obviously a unique title specific to the video. You can kind of discover that on your own. But the description is can be context you add at the end of every one of your descriptions here. And you can have it sectioned off, and then obviously the more specific descriptions that we outlined above here, maybe above the fold compared to this description. But it's always nice to have a consistent description throughout your videos that's maybe at the bottom just describing an overarching idea of what your channel offers, because this is going to help with SEO and metadata when YouTube tries to search you in different search queries. From here, we also get, you know, constant hashtags that can be used throughout all videos, such as DIY or DIY, home decor, substantial living, and so on. It also gives you the category, the visibility, the thumbnail end screen cards, and so on. Overall, use this tool to set up a kind of default paragraph at the end of every single one of your videos, as that's going to show consistency and more authority within your niche. Perfect. You have set up your YouTube profile. You've got a default upload formats. You've also gotten the ability to set up descriptions automatically and an About You section. Let's go ahead and jump into the next lesson here, and I'll see you there. Welcome to the next lesson here, where we're going to be looking at ChatGPT prompts specifically tailored for the purpose of sponsored content and affiliate marketing. As always, you can find all the prompts used in today's video in that PDF down below, so go ahead and download it and let's jump into how to leverage these ChatGPT prompts for YouTube. The first prompt we're going to copy is going to be the YouTube affiliate marketing strategies. From here, we're just going to paste, and then we're going to ask GPT to fill in with example variables so we can get the best type of structuring on how to input variables here. Fill with example variables, if I can spell today. And then we're gonna do semicolon so it knows what we're talking about here. And let's go ahead and see what GPT comes up with. Okay, so for the specific niche of fitness and health and the audience being young adults, we see 5 different strategies proposed, saying creating relevant content, optimize video tags and description, engagement with audiences, collaborating with influencers in the fitness personalities, and giveaway in context. What we do here, though, is we can take this one step further, and let's just say we want to grab this specific example here, and we're going to go ahead and say, can you give me 3 examples of, and then we'll just go ahead and paste that, and then it'll understand from our context that we've written out before that we're talking about our specific niche and our audience here, and we're going to get 3 example relevant examples when it comes to our niche. So in that context, we would see a home workout series, a product review, and tutorials, and healthy lifestyle vlogs. As always, you can go ahead and take one of these, maybe ask it, hey, create me a playlist that does 10 episodes, give me the titles and descriptions for each episode, and so on. Go ahead and try out our next prompt here, which is going to be the YouTube affiliate marketing content ideas. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and paste that there. I'm going to go ahead and grab the same niche of fitness and health. And then we're going to go ahead and grab the same target audience here, which is going to be the young adults interested in fitness and overall wellness. And then let's go ahead and say that our product here, obviously the more information you provide, the better the output will be. But in our context, we're just going to say a yoga mat. We're going to hit enter here, and then let's see what GPT can come up with in this context. So we got 10 different suggestions based off that input. We got the yoga mat review, yoga beginner series, 10-minute morning yoga routine, 30-day yoga challenge, and so on. As you see here, this has been niched down, and we got all these different content ideas that could be surrounded around the affiliate product that you might be, promoting on your specific channel. All really good stuff. As always, you could take one of these titles here, for example, the 30-day yoga challenge, and go ahead and ask it, how many lessons or episodes should this consist of? How long should these episodes be? And so on. The next prompt we're going to be looking at in today's video is going to be the YouTube affiliate marketing success stories. We'll go ahead and paste that there. We'll grab the same niche we've been dealing with in today's video. We're going to hit that. We're going to hit enter, and then we're going to be able to get a success story from the Fitness Blenders workout videos. This dives into depth on the specific strategies used by this campaign, the key lessons and actual insights from this campaign. So as you see here, the strategies used were content creation, where they posted 600 workout videos catering to various fitness levels and goals. The product placement was effective in these routine videos, and the engagement where it comes to responding to people's comments on workouts and offering support and so on. And then as you see here, the key lessons and actual insights that we received from this was consistency and variety in content, authenticity, seamless product integration, and community engagement. So, the idea essentially that you wouldn't want to just throw a product in an individual's face. You want to make it look like it actually has utility value, and there's actually like a reason that you are promoting it as you see yourself using it, and it isn't just like a throwaway affiliate link. One thing I want to point out here is that maybe you want to niche down even further than fitness and health. Maybe you're really just like yoga and meditation. In order just to edit these prompts so you don't have to recopy them and paste them, you can just come up to this little marker here, and then you can just edit it directly. So for example, I could just do the yoga niche, or just put yoga, and then you'll be able to get your new output based off your new niche like that. The last prompt we're going to be looking at here today is going to be the affiliate marketing platforms options. This is a great prompt because depending on what you're trying to advertise and promote on your channel, it really can change on what type of platform you use to, get those commissions, such as Amazon affiliates, ClickBank, and so on. Some platforms encourage more software-oriented products or digital products. Some are more physical, like ship-to-door type products. So as you see here, we're going to go ahead and just put in the new niche of yoga, and then we're going to put a requirements as, we'll say, earn at least 20% commission. I'm going to hit enter here and see what kind of platforms would be perfect for our niche. So in this context, it was able to give Amazon Associates, Share Sale, ClickBank, CJ Affiliate, and Flex offers. And what's great about this is that since we're talking about yoga, obviously the first one's going to be Amazon Associates, as there's going to be a ton of plethora when it comes to meditation products and yoga products, which seems to be like more of what you would probably be advertising on this type of channel. But from here, you can go ahead and dive into any of these for more information through GBT and really see which one would best apply to your niche. So now we understand what our niche is and how to monetize it. Let's jump into the next module here where we'll learn how to use AI automation and leverage it for our YouTube channel. Welcome to the next module here where we're going to be looking at a fully AI automated YouTube presence. This module is for the people that want to create YouTube channels where essentially once you set up the Zapier flows, you can walk away and have it automatically push out content on your behalf. The purposes of this lesson is I wanted to give you a brief overview of what we're going to be jumping into. So make sure you have all 4 of those accounts created and all the APIs connected into Zapier, as this is going to allow you to take full advantage of what we're doing in today's course and apply ChatGPT in our solutions for whether making an automatic thumbnail, an automatic AI video, and so on. One of the most important tools that we plan on using in this course is going to be the scheduling tool by Zapier. This is going to allow us to essentially set up a automated social media schedule content calendar that's going to basically work in the background. So for example, I could set up a schedule where every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon, it posts a new YouTube video along with a short as well. This is going to be really effective stuff here, as we're going to learn to not only use this schedule tool, but also use the Paths tool by Zapier in order to create one Zap that's going to be able to encompass a whole social media calendar rather than creating multiple Zaps. And it's going to be a very effective way to save you time and optimize the way we approach our AI automated YouTube channels. I hope you're excited to dive into this module. This is completely new stuff. We're groundbreaking technology here using ChatGPT to really leverage it in creating content. You're going to learn a bunch of stuff here that you're not only going to be able to apply to your YouTube channel, but other things when it comes to Zapier and connecting apps. But without further ado, let's jump into our AI automated module here at Web Cafe. Welcome to probably one of the most important lessons in this module. We're going to be showing you how to build out a fully AI automated YouTube channel, more specifically a faceless AI automated YouTube channel. Make sure to check out all the lessons in this module as they are all interconnected. As always, you can find the Zap in the description below, but make sure you stay to the end because we're going to show you a very powerful tool and function so you can set up just one Zap that'll be able to post custom content on all days of the week. But for now, we're going to jump into one of the most important Zaps in this course. All right, so we are in our Zap. It's going to be called AI YouTube channel. And the purpose of this specific Zap is we're going to build out a food AI channel. Specifically, the content that is going to be given here is going to be a recipe or a food item that's being created. Some of the blocks used in this current Zap aren't going to be used in this specific video, but used in later videos in this module. So make sure you add all the blocks associated here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's Zap. Okay, to start off, we're going to start off with a very simple trigger, which is going to be your scheduler. Like any good social media, we're going to make sure that we always be posting. And for our context, we're going to go ahead and say every day. We're going to go ahead and say continue. From here, we're going to go ahead and say whether you want to trigger on weekends or not. We're going to go ahead and say yes. And we're going to say the time we're going to trigger is just going to be noon. Obviously, whatever context you want to use, go ahead and go with that. We're going to go ahead and say test trigger. And then we're going to go ahead and add our first block here, which is going to be a ChatGPT block. So essentially, look at this block as the one initiating everything that's going to happen from here on out on this specific video. So whatever your niche is, this is kind of where you would build it out from here. For our purpose today, we're going to be building out a food niche. So we're going to go ahead and hit conversation, hit continue, continue. And the first block in this Zap we're going to say is generate a random food dish. And then we're going to put parameters. Don't repeat food items. And let's see if I can spell today. Don't repeat food items. We're going to go ahead and make sure we up our model. Actually, we can keep it 3.5. That is fine. We're going to go ahead and say food list as a memory key. The purposes of the memory key is to make sure it understands contextually what it said before. So in this context, since we've identified, hey, don't repeat past food dishes. If you say meatloaf, don't ever say meatloaf again. This is going to be important to make sure that every single video that is pushed out on your channel is unique content and you don't regurgitate past content, which obviously would cause issues with your viewers. So from here, we're going to go ahead and hit continue and see if it's sufficient enough. We might need to add more context here, but let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so it seems like it gave too much information here. We're going to go ahead and make sure it just generates the food item slash, thing we're going to be cooking here, as you'll see why that is important. So we're going to say, don't repeat food items, just generate the dish, no text before or after. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and add a 1 here. We want to refresh the memory key, so we're like in a new chat. It doesn't use this as context of what it said before. So we get a possible better structuring for its output. So let's go ahead and see right here. All right, perfect. It does a better structuring. That is just what we want. From here, we're going to add another ChatGPT block here. And we're going to go ahead and use this ChatGPT block for the purpose of building out the recipe. So we're going to go ahead and hit conversation. We're going to hit continue. And we're going to say, based off this food dish, semicolon parentheses, grab that food dish. We're going to say, generate a recipe on how to make it, include ingredients, and how to cook. All right, perfect. We're going to want to go ahead and up this one to model GPT-4 as we're dealing with more complex situation here. Obviously, this could work with 3.5, but I just like upping it in these contexts. Then we're going to say food recipe as a memory key. And let's go ahead and see what the output would be in this context for this structuring. Okay, so as you see here, it was able to get the ingredients, but it obviously cut off. That's not going to be consistent enough for what we want to do here. So let's go ahead and break this down just a little bit so the output is consistent. We're going to say generate a recipe on how to make it. Generate a list of ingredients to make this dish. So essentially we're going to block this off so that we have a list of ingredients to make this dish, and then the next block here will be essentially how to cook the dish. So we're going to do that. We're going to make sure we add a 1 here to clear the chat. Let's start with a better structuring here, and then let's let GPT do the work. Okay, so it came up with another issue. Seems like it is still having issues with the output here. No worries. What we can do here is we're going to say, generate a list of ingredients to make this dish. Just generate the ingredients, name, no text on how to prepare it, as some of the ingredients had like thinly sliced and stuff like that. We want to deal with that in a later block. So we're going to say generate a list of ingredients to make this dish. Just generate the ingredients name, no text on how to prepare it. We're going to go do that. We're going to add a 2 here to refresh the chat, and we're going to test this action again. All right, perfect. So we got our ingredients list here. Really good stuff. Now let's go ahead and create the block on how to cook it. So what we can do here though is we can go ahead and duplicate this. So there's a nice little trick here. You can duplicate it because we've already kind of pre-texted and fine-tuned it to what we wanted to do. We can continue here. I'm going to say, based off this food dish, generate how to cook it. And then let's see if that is sufficient enough for GPT to handle. If it's not, we'll obviously fine tune. As you'll notice through this tutorial, a lot of times with GPT, you just got to fine tune your chats. You got to mess around with the outputs. But what's so great now is with that memory key is that we can ensure that every time this automation is to occur, it's going to be consistent on its output, and we won't have to worry about discrepancies in the future. Okay, so I had to do a little bit more fine tuning for the chat in order to ensure that the output would come out. And I basically said just the instructions on how to cook it in 5 steps. Each step is a maximum 1 sentence. This keeps it consistent, keeps it well known, and keeps the details exactly how we want it for when the content will be ingested by your potential audience here. So from here, we're going to go ahead and add a storage block. And essentially what a storage block allows us to do is have the data that's been produced here be pushed off into another Zap. So in this context, the reason we're building out a storage block is so that we can essentially have it so we can put the recipe and how to cook it in the YouTube description. So from here, we're going to go ahead and say set value. And we're going to go ahead and say continue. We're going to set the key, which is going to be how the data is associated with. We're going to set the key to ingredient. We'll do ingredients, plural. We're going to go ahead and grab the value that was just created here, which was the ingredients. Let's go ahead and set up another storage block here for the cooking recipe. All right, so we're going to add another storage block here, do storage. So this is going to be a very valuable tool to use in other contexts as you get more familiar with Zapier. Being able to pass data between different flows comes into a lot of help when dealing with more complex situations. But from here, we're going to do instructions, and then we're going to add the value of the cooking instructions that we just created. All right, perfect. So the reasoning we're saving those is so we can pass that over to the description that we're going to later on edit in another flow. But from here, let's go ahead and start building out what's next. All right, so what is next for us is we're going to be building out the thumbnail in this flow. So we're going to add we're going to be adding an OpenAI block here. And the purposes of the OpenAI block is so we can access DALL-E to generate an image. Now, in theory, I'm going to have a preset image here that I kind of already have a prompt for food. If you wanted to, you could add a GPT block here, setting up a variable prompt for the image to generate with. But for our context, I already have a prompt that I'm going to use here. This prompt was found on PromptBase. I'm going to go ahead and link it in the description below. But as you know, PromptBase is a marketplace for prompts. And as you see here, we got a professional food photography for gourmet. Then we have the brackets of the variable it's requesting. So we're going to go ahead and remove the brackets and input the one item here, which is the lamb. And from here, we're going to go ahead and make sure we increase the size of the thumbnail to 1024 by 1024. I'm going to hit continue here, and we're going to hit test action. If you want to see what your image would look like, all you need to do is copy this. You would open a new tab, and then you'd be able to essentially paste it. And this is going to be the image of the lamb dish that was in question. Really cool stuff. Not only is it important to have an image for your thumbnails, it's also important to have text. So we're going to have to go ahead and add another ChatGPT block here. And we're going to basically make the thumbnail text. As you know, you don't want to have too much text on a thumbnail, so we'll make sure we set up our context and parameters correctly here. We're going to say, based on this food dish, we're going to do semicolon parentheses, grab the food dish, and we're going to format this pretty nice here. So we're going to go ahead and essentially say, generate 1 to 2 words per line on how to cook this food dish. We're going to do parameters. We are looking for 3 lines in total. All right, perfect. We're going to go ahead and do GPT-4 as this is a little bit more complex of a request. And then we're going to go ahead and say thumb food for like thumbnail for text for food item. We're going to hit continue here. We're going to test this action. All right, so as you see there, we got a Marathi lamb saute spices, layer rice. Let's go ahead and tweak this a little bit. Let's go to say generate 1 to 2 words per line on how to cook the food dish. Make sure to include the word recipe so it is clear to the individual what they're clicking into, that it is a recipe video. We're going to hit 1 here for restructuring on text, and we're going to retest this action. All right, perfect. This is what we're looking for. So lamb recipe, biryani preparation, cookie method. The next thing we want to add here is we want to make sure to separate the data into 3 separate blocks here for the thumbnail we're going to be creating. So we're going to go to formatter. We're going to be formatting text. We're going to choose text. We're going to hit continue, and then we're going to go ahead and do split. And from here, we're going to make sure we use the input of what we just created there, which is going to be that. And then we're going to go ahead and say the separator, and it's going to basically be new line, but I'm going to grab the exact formatting right now. I'm going to go ahead and paste that, and then we're going to segment it so that basically all are separate fields. From here, we're going to test this action, and then basically every single one of those lines should be a separate variable, which will come into a good use case here when we build out the banner bear image of it. For now, I'm just going to add the banner bear block. We will be creating the banner bear thumbnail later in this video. But for now, essentially, this is where we're going to be creating the thumbnail that's going to encompass the image we just generated and the text we just generated. We'll jump into that a little later in this tutorial. Let's go ahead and continue on building out this flow. All right, so the next thing we need to add here is going to be a storage block. And the specific use case of this storage block is going to be basically getting the banner bear's ID, which is basically referencing the image. We're essentially going to need this thumbnail for another Zap flow. Because one big thing about AI automation when it comes to YouTube is Zapier can do basically 90% of the work. But when it comes to thumbnails and automatically uploading thumbnails, we're going to have to use a slightly different software working along with Zapier. Well, you'll see what I mean when I get to it. For now, we're just going to hit continue here, and we're going to hit cook thumb, and then essentially the value, which I believe I don't think I have access to it. I won't, but we'll put the banner bear ID. That will make more sense as we go. Let's go ahead and rename this. I'll rename everything here, so when you go ahead and add it to your project, you won't get too confused by, you know, all the generic names here. All right, so next we're going to go ahead and start building out the actual speech that is going to occur in our video here. We're going to do another ChatGPT block, and this is going to be the introduction of the video. So we're going to do that. We're going to say based on this food dish and the fact, actually we'll just do based on this food dish because we just want to start simple first. Go like this. Ahead and added the next couple sentences here. So I said, give an introduction to a YouTube video explaining how we are going to showcase how to cook this food item today, and then basically setting a cap at 2 sentences because we don't want this to drag on. It's just the introduction, like, hey, we're cooking this lamb dish. Like, this is essentially what's going to be happening. Here's the context for the video. We're going to up that to GPT-4. We're going to do intro food, and from here we're going to hit continue, and we're going to test this action. Perfect. So as you see here, hey food lovers, in today's video we'll be talking about the delicious journey to master the art of cooking the irresistible lamb biryani. I'm probably butchering how you say that. Perfect to impress your friends and family. Now in the context that you'll be using captions in the video, we're going to want to format these quotation marks out. So I'm going to show you that real quick. We're just going to add another formatter block here. Format, and then we're going to be obviously manipulating text. So we're going to choose the event of text. Hit continue here. We're going to transform, and we're going to use the function of replace. We're going to grab the thing that was just generated. We're going to do find the quotation marks. We're going to replace it with empty space, and then now it should not have the quotation marks. This will make more sense when we get to Cynthia and setting up the actual AI video that's going to be associated with the script. But for now, you know how to essentially get rid of quotation marks if that becomes a nuisance. Okay, so we're going to add another ChatGPT block here. And what I like to do in these kind of videos is give them a quick fact or a quick, like, you know, teaser of what's about to be in the video. So we're going to go ahead and just create a quick fact or a quick teaser about the dish we're making today. All right. Okay, so we're going to do based on this food dish, semicolon parentheses. And that's why I showed you earlier in this video why that very first ChatGPT block is so fundamental. So whatever niche you're in or whatever avenue you're going down, you're typically going to be referencing that first block for everything else because that kind of sets the tone of what the topic of the video is. So typically what you want to do is make sure that first block is very general, very concise, and straight to the point, so you don't find yourself, you know, going off track, or it isn't like in flow of what a video should be from start to finish. So I went ahead and typed out, give a bonus tip on how to cook, limit to max of 1 sentence, parameters, talk to me like a human. Parameters I want to throw in there real quick, just as a little quick tip. If you find yourself dealing with ChatGPT and the output is not consistent or not how you like it, you can add that little parameter tool there. And on top of that, instead of being so specific, I wanted to give like a general idea here. So just give a bonus tip on how to cook, which I think will be more practical in this kind of format, in this kind of context. From here, we're just going to call it cook tip. And we can go ahead and up our model to GPT-4. As you see here, our tip was add saffron to the rice water for a fragrant and vibrant golden color in the finished lamb dish we're dealing with here. That's really good stuff here. Let's go ahead and dive into the deep dish here, where we're going to essentially now build out the main script that shows us how to cook the lamb dish. Now that we've added the cooking tip right after the introduction, let's go ahead and jump into the meat of this video, which is going to be essentially explaining how to cook and the cooking process. So let's start off with another ChatGPT block here, and we're going to go ahead and rename this ChatGPT block to start with ingredients. And essentially the idea here, let's go ahead and spell this. The idea here is whatever you're beginning, whatever niche you're in, essentially, you want to structure it basically in 3 main parts typically. So for us, we're going to probably do start with ingredients, and then the other 2 parts will be talking about the cooking phase, and then the last part will just be a nice little conclusion, as you see here. So we're going to go ahead and say conversation, and we're going to go ahead and put out a nice little start of ingredients section of this video. We're going to say based off this food dish. As always, we reference the initial topic generator here, and we're going to go topic of video, lamb. And I went ahead and renamed all these blocks so it's easier for you to digest when you add it to your own project. We're going to say generate an introduction, or generate a response saying how you will need ingredients to create this dish. And then on top of that, we're going to add a little bit of parameters here. Let's go ahead and add a parameter that we had earlier of talk like a human, as we want to make this as easy digestible as possible. And then on top of that, we're going to add one more parameter. Just add a little indentation there. We're going to say this part of the script is this part of the script. This is part one of the script telling the user to check out the YouTube description for the full list of ingredients for this dish. We're going to say a max of 2 sentences. So essentially the idea here is we're going to start off with the first scene after the introduction, the cooking tip. We're going to do a little bit of an introduction like, hey, these are the ingredients you need for this dish. Go ahead and check out the description below and you'll be able to get, copy it to your notes and so on. All right, so as you see here, we got our little generation here to create the delicious lamb biryani. I'll need a list of ingredients. Be sure to check out the YouTube description for a full list of ingredients for the required scrumptious dish. Good stuff here. I added a memory key, and I actually had to up my model to GPT-4 in order to execute this. So on top of that, let's go ahead and do part 2. So we're going to go ahead and add another ChatGPT block here. We're going to go ahead and rename this to part 2. We're going to choose the conversation as the event. We're going to continue here. And then we're going to go ahead and add our user message. What's great, though, is we can go ahead and just copy this. We're going to Command A, Command C. From here, we're going to Command V this. And we're going to just edit this slightly. So one thing we need to add here is the fact that this is part 2. So we need to make sure we reference part 1. We're going to go ahead and do part 1 here. We're going to go make sure we input part 1 that we just created here. So what's nice is now you understand that every single one of these slides can reference previous slides so that the conversation flows throughout the video. So we're going to do part 1 here, generate part 2, which goes over the beginning steps to creating this dish. And then we're going to go ahead and do there. We're going to say a max of 3 sentences, period. And then we're going to make sure we spell this correct. Make sure we up our model to GPT-4. Okay, so we got our nice little part 2 here. The issue is that we have part 2 identified, which we don't want to have, obviously, in the dialogue. So what we want to do here is we're going to go ahead and come back up here. I'm going to say, don't mention the part. And let's see if that's sufficient enough. As always, we're going to go ahead and clear the memory key. So we start with a new chat. So it doesn't have that, previous output as context of how to structure it. We want a new way to structure it. Let's go ahead and let it generate. All right, there we go. So as you see here, we jump into part 2 of this video and we got our nice little max of 3 sentences. Let's go ahead and save us some more time here. And all you need to do is come up here is to duplicate. And then we're going to go ahead and rename this to part 3. From here, we're going to go ahead and open that. Now that we're in it, we're going to go ahead and make sure we do part 2, semicolon, parentheses, and obviously we want to identify part 2. So as you see here, this gives us a lot of context that GPT is going to continue the flow, understand what's said before, so it sounds very natural. We're going to say generate part 3, which is going to be, which goes over the final steps. Say the final steps to creating the dish, a max of 3 sentences. Don't mention the parts. I want to say talk like a human. We like that. We can go ahead and make sure we do part 3, food. And then from here, everything else looks good. So we're going to hit continue and we're going to retest this action. One thing I want to point out is as you notice in the parentheses that data from part 1 and part 2 is being identified, and then it understands that it needs to generate part 3, which we'll get here pretty soon. So what I did is I went ahead and written up, generate a conclusion script saying goodbye to a YouTube video. Thank you for watching. Encompass in the script that our cooking channel provides education for cooking food. Like and subscribe if you feel like you've learned something today, and then parameters, a max of 4 sentences. You can obviously add more context here. Maybe you want to put in your YouTube channel name. Maybe you want to have a CTA for a specific thing in the description of your video and so on. From here, we're just going to go ahead and hit continue. We're going to retest this action, and this should be the final part of this YouTube video, at least script-wise. All right, great. So as you see here, we got our conclusion script for the video. Now, one thing I want to show you how to do as well is I'm going to show you how to make sure you know how to integrate images in your videos as well. So for this context, we're going to go with an AI generated image. And more specifically, we're just going to have another image in the video showcasing what the dish could possibly look like. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate our thumbnail image block here. I'm going to come over here to outline, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it all the way to the bottom here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and little X here, come down here, and let's go ahead and rename this to image in video. And then this is essentially going to show you how to integrate images in your video, which could be very useful in any context for whatever you're creating on your niched YouTube channel. I'm going to hit retest action here, and then we should be able to generate a different version of the AI image that we're using from our thumbnail. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and add the final stages to the Zapier flow. We're going to first add a Cynthia block here, and essentially this is going to be what's going to generate the AI generated video. We're going to do from template. We're going to hit continue here, continue, and then we'll build this out. But for now, let's go ahead and add another block here, which is going to be ChatGPT. And essentially what I'm building out here is that the first Cynthia block is going to be used as like the long form content, you know, the landscape version. Now I'm going to add another feature here because we built out already so much context. Let's go ahead and make sure we build out a version of this that is a YouTube short, you know, shouting out that this video just got created. So we're going to go ahead and hit conversation here, and we're going to go ahead and rename this to YouTube short. So I went ahead and put in a prompt here, and the idea essentially is that based off this food dish, which is the food dish that's going to be the topic of the video, generate a script saying, basically saying, asking watchers to watch this YouTube video. And context, this is a promo video to convince people to go to your channel and learn about cooking food. And then we put a parameter of 3 sentences max. Essentially, this is going to be the script that's used for the short that we push out automatically on our YouTube channel. From here, we're going to go ahead and do GPT-4, and we're going to do short food. And we're going to hit continue here and test that action. Perfect. So we got our script for our short, craving the delicious lamb. Look for no further. Head over to our YouTube channel to watch a step-by-step video tutorial and so on. Let's go ahead and add our final block to this Zapier flow, which is going to be another Cynthia block, but this is going to be used for the purpose of making that short. We have now officially created our Zapier flow when it comes to creating a AI YouTube channel. Obviously, you're going to want to diversify your content. So maybe you want to change the topic of the video, the style of the video, and so on. But for now, you have an idea of essentially how to build out an entire Zapier flow to build out an AI YouTube channel. Now, let's go ahead and start filling in these blocks so it executes perfectly. The first block we need to fill out here is going to be the thumbnail. So let's jump over to Banner Bear. Once you're in Banner Bear, let's jump over to our projects. Let's go to essentially create a project specific to this. We have YouTube course already created here. We're going to create a template. And we're going to use a custom template as they don't have thumbnails for YouTube as a default option. We're going to do a width of 1280 and a height of 720. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to hit save here. And then from here, we can go ahead and hit edit template. And we can just start creating our YouTube thumbnail of how we want this to look. So to begin, let's go ahead and add a couple layers here. The first layer I'm going to add is going to be the image layer. And this is going to be from that AI generated image that we had earlier. So I'm going to use image rectangle here. And then I'm going to go ahead and say upload image. Perfect. So the image has been uploaded. I'm going to just go ahead and drag this. And then as we see here, this doesn't look bad at all. So this is going to be the AI generated image here. Drag this right here. And then let's go ahead and add the thumbnail text to this, so we can have the text that we created in our Zapier flow show up here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a rectangle here. And let's go ahead and just expand it all the way. If I can grab it here, perfect. And you can go ahead and, you know, angle it if you want to rotate it and so on. Let's choose a different color here, something a little bit more welcoming, like maybe something like this. And then essentially I'm going to go ahead and move this over here a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and rename our image here because this is going to be essentially we grab the variable. Let's go ahead and rename this layer to food item. And then the rectangle, we don't need to rename because it's just a background. Now let's go ahead and add our 3 pieces of text. All right, perfect. So we got our first piece of text here. Let's go ahead and change the font size a little bit bigger. And then we're going to want to see about changing the color here. See if white would show up well here. If not, okay, we'll keep it black. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we have this little box here not go over the image, as we don't wanna obviously bleed over the image for this context. And we're gonna go ahead and rename this to line 1. And then we can go ahead and duplicate. And we can rename this to line 2. And this will make more sense as we jump over to Zapier, but for now, this is essentially, we're identifying each one as a separate layer so that this comes out perfect. We're gonna do line 3. And let me say rename line 3. And just so we can get a better idea, let's go ahead and just center this. So we're gonna do horizontal alignment center, and center. All right, perfect. And then I wanna go ahead and increase the text a little bit more, as this is a little small. So let's just see like 68. All right, perfect. Or maybe we want the middle part to be bigger than the other ones. So let's go ahead and do that. Make sure we save this template. And we're going to say thumbnail food. This is how we're going to call it in our Zapier function. All right, so this is a very simple template. Obviously, you can get a little bit more crazy, but for the purposes of this video, this is all we really need to do. We have our image variable. We have our text variable. Now let's jump back over to Zapier and connect all the dots here. Okay, we are back in Zapier. I'm going to go ahead and hit thumbnail design. Let's choose an event, and we're going to say create image. We're going to continue. We're going to choose the YouTube course account. Perfect. And then let's let it continue here. The template ID is going to be the one we just created. So it should show up here, thumbnail food, perfect. And then as you'll notice, it's going to ask for basically the variables we just identified, which would be line 1, line 2, and line 3. And from my understanding, those should be in order. They are in order from top to bottom. So first, let's go ahead and grab the image variable, which is going to be what was created before it, and this block right up here. And then we're going to go ahead and grab line 1. And that's why we formatted our text. So boom, output 1, come back down here, output 2, and then finally output 3. All right, perfect. So now we have officially created our thumbnail. This shouldn't work because I may need to retest this variable up here in order to make sure that link is live still. But let's go ahead and test it real quick. All right, so let me go ahead and retest this real quick. As you'll notice, when you work with DALL-E and AI generated images, the duration that the link lasts is only gonna be like 30 minutes, which is not an issue because obviously automation, it's gonna grab the image right away. You have no worry about any delay. But from now, this is the image that was just created. Let's see what it would look like in thumbnail format. Paste it into that new tab. And as you see, there we go. So we have the 3 pieces of text. All of them were separated by our formatter and works out perfectly. Then we have the image that we just created put onto that text. So now this could possibly be your thumbnail. Obviously design your thumbnail how you want your YouTube videos to look like, but now you have created a template for YouTube thumbnails. From here, we're gonna wanna make sure that we add our banner ID that we just created. And the purpose of adding the banner ID is that we're gonna use this as a reference, and this is it right here, for when we create out the flow, so it automatically uploads the thumbnail to our YouTube videos, so we don't even have to do any work in our back end. So we'll go ahead and test that action. And it works, so perfect. Let's get to the final step in this specific lesson. I know it's long, but this is the most important lesson in this entire course. Now let's get into the step of essentially creating the template for the long form content of this video and then the short form content of this video. So once you're in your Cynthia account, we're gonna go over to library. We're gonna say templates, and we're gonna create a new template. And this template specifically is gonna be our cooking food template. So this template is going to be the one that we associate with that entire Zap we just built out. So we're going to make sure that all our variables connect like effectively and that, you know, everything is interlinked. And so every time it generates using this template, there is no hiccups. Okay, so in order to begin, we're going to go ahead and add some scenes here. In total, I'm looking at around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scenes. So one thing about Cynthia is that either you can start with scratch or you can look at templates that are already being created by Cynthia, which is always helpful. So let's go ahead and just grab some templates that's already been created for our editing purposes. So we can go ahead and add this as the first template for the introduction, essentially, that we created earlier. And then let's go ahead and just delete that. And let's add some more scenes here and see what works best for us. All right, so I went ahead and just, researched around, and these are the scenes that I got. I like the formatting. You can go ahead and research yourself. A bunch of different types of formats and templates that can be found in Cynthia. Let's go ahead and start off by first choosing our main avatar here. So I'm gonna go ahead and say replace avatar. And that is me, but that's not who we want to do. We'll just say Alex for today's video. And let me go ahead and just add Alex to all these different slides real quick. So all you need to do is click this, replace avatar, Alex, and go ahead and proceed from there. Now, when you come to slides that basically have no avatar, the avatar is still there. All you need to do is click avatar up here. Make sure you click Alex. And then for this context, I'm going to just do voice. I don't need to have this individual's face actually on there. And then for everything else, I'm just going to go ahead and use the default and go from there. The next thing I'm going to do is ensure that all the voices are the same. So we're going to say apply new voice to all female avatars, which in this context, we'll go ahead and go with the recommended voice of engaging. And then every single voice from here on out should be engaging as seen here. And that's good stuff. All right, the next step that is always useful in all these videos is we want to make sure that our color scheme is unanimous throughout. So let's go ahead and update all the color schemes for all these different slides here. So that is as simple as just going here and clicking the correct fill. And honestly, let's stay with this color scheme from the first slide here and make it unanimous throughout all the slides here. So for example, this is sufficient, but maybe we want to change the background here to the orange that we had there. Okay. From here, we can go ahead and you can add a logo if you want to. I'm going to delete that. Come over here, and then we're going to change this orange here to the color that we're looking for here. Perfect. I'm going to remove this as we don't need that. And then we definitely want to change this. So we're going to go ahead and change this right there. And then we'll go ahead and grab our secondary color that was founded here in the background. And we're going to go ahead and copy that. Bring that over here. And I'm going to go ahead and do this for the rest of the video. Now let's start inserting some variables, changing the formatting and so on, so we can get some really good content going on here. I'm going to fly over here real quick. The first thing I want to do is set up just a simple variable here. We're just going to call it dish. And this is how you identify variables in Cynthia. So by me identifying dish, essentially later I want to put in the main topic of whatever dish is being created here. So in this context, it would be dish. And then we're going to basically put a subline of how to cook. And that's going to be a fixed variable. We can go ahead and delete that. So now when I call upon this, as you see in the Zapier flow, we're going to be able to insert a variable in there. So that's nice. The first variable we're going to have is going to be 2 curly brackets. And then we're going to make sure, or is it might be these. Okay, perfect. It's just 1 curly bracket. And we're just going to say intro, another curly bracket. And then we're going to go ahead and see. So it is actually 2 curly brackets. Once you've created that, it will look like this. And essentially default value would just be intro. This is where we're going to start plugging in our scripts. If you want to add fixed text here, you could go ahead and do that and say, let's get to it. So after the variable ChatGPT script we create, you want to have like some type of like fixed thing that it's always said throughout every single video. You can add it there. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to just have it. So basically the entire video is AI generated when it comes to the script. So our first script is intro. The next one is the cooking tip. So we're going to do curly brackets. We're going to say cook tip. Curly brackets again, and then I'll do that. And then from here, we can go ahead and add our cooking tip. So we're going to go ahead and do curly brackets, tip of cook, curly brackets again. So then we're going to be able to not only insert the cooking tip as a speech, but also insert it as a piece of text. The last thing I want to do here for this slide is we're going to want to make sure we change our background here so it isn't just skyscrapers, because that does not look right. So let's go ahead and see what we can do there. So that was a little bit of an overlay there. And let's go ahead and see if we can change this real quick. All right, we're gonna go ahead and use this. It shows a bunch of different spices, which is cool. We're gonna go ahead and add our overlay back. And then now we should have a little bit of a video looping in the background as that cooking tip comes up. Let's go ahead and proceed to the next slide here, which is gonna be our, explain part 1. So in explain part 1 is just kind of like the ingredients. So I'm gonna say ingredients, or we're gonna say, get your list ready. And then we're going to go ahead and add a subtitle here, YouTube description. Just add a little bit more context here. And then we're going to go ahead and say for our first part, we're going to expo 1. So make brackets as well. Again, obviously use variables that you can recognize when you're using it in Zapier. So if that is not recognizable to you, try a different type of input variable there. But for now, that is sufficient of what we want here. Let's go to the second level here. And this right here is going to be interesting. This is where we're going to learn how to add that AI image. The first thing I need to do for this is I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this background media, as we don't need that. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna upload the image that we're gonna be using. This is very important. Whatever your dimensions are when it comes to the image, make sure to maintain it here. So for us, it's 1024 by 1024. So let's go ahead and upload that AI image real quick. Once the image is uploaded, we're just gonna go ahead and drag it here like that. And then this works like any type of editing software that you're familiar with. You can just kind of right click and we're gonna say send to back. And then from here, we have our image, but it's not a variable yet. So we're gonna have to make it a variable. We're gonna go ahead and hit these three little brackets here. We're gonna say add variable. And we're gonna say showcase food. And then essentially now we can grab and add data from the back end of Zapier and upload different images for every single video. That's really good to know. We're gonna go ahead and add our brackets here. We're gonna say expo2. And then from here, we're gonna go ahead and say this could be a variable text if you want to make another GPT block, but we're gonna just say let's cook together. Perfect. From here, we're gonna go ahead and delete this little logo. And then the next slide, I went ahead and changed a different type of style here. So that was a voiceover. This is going to be just, straight talking to you. And all we need to do in this context is going to be bracket, bracket, expo3, bracket, bracket. And now we get to our final slide here, which is going to be our conclusion slide. And we can go ahead and add a bracket, bracket, con, and then bracket, bracket. Now, one thing you'll notice here is a delay. So you can add a delay timer. Typically at end of videos, maybe you want to add a delay timer to like showcase, hey, like watch this video or watch this playlist. So you'll have a nice little delay timer here. There's other stuff you can do here, such as gestures. So for example, I could have the AI avatar nod with head yes, head no, eyebrows up, and so on. So for the purposes of this video, we'll go it so that at the end of the intro, the avatar puts a head yes nod, which is going to be nice. From here though, we can go ahead and jump through it all, and we'll go ahead and just change this to let's get cooking. We have parentheses. You can add a logo here if you wish to. You can add your email and your website if you want, or you can just do whatever you want for your final page that you feel is most effective for your niche and your YouTube video. But overall, we have basically finished our YouTube template here. One thing we can add is music. So this music will be played throughout the video. So maybe we want to add, let's see what we got. You can choose between all these different musics, but for now, we're not going to do that. You can also add scene transitions, which is pretty interesting. So I could add a scene transition here of a fade, and then basically it goes by each one with a different type of scene transition. That can always be an effective way to make sure the user is engaged while watching the video. But overall, we have created our template for the long form content of our Zapier flow. So next, all we need to do is come up here to publish. I like including captions. That always helps with people who want to read along rather than just listen. And from there, we can go ahead and just hit publish template. So we have created our long form content. Now let's create the short version of this. So all we need to do is hit create template again. This is going to be a little bit faster, and we're going to just do short cooking template. And then from here, what we know about shorts is obviously it's a vertical orientation. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to shrink our avatar, or maybe not use an avatar at all. Shrink our avatar here, put it in the center, as we're going to be using a software that essentially automatically, renders it in the correct orientation. And then we're going to go ahead and just, call the script short food, semicolon, or bracket, bracket. And then from here, we can go ahead and mess around a little bit with the background. So let's go ahead and just change it to something like a light red is good. Now, one thing I like doing personally is if you were to do short content like this and you're basically referring to like, hey, watch this video, let's go ahead and automatically upload the thumbnail in this short as well. To do so, make sure you download that example thumbnail that you have previously from your Zap, and then let's go ahead and just go to media, upload media. All right, perfect. So we have the thumbnail here. It is important you grab the thumbnail download image from the template we created, because that's going to have the dimensions that are correct. So when you scale and you don't have to come back to this, it looks perfect. But we're going to have the thumbnail at the top. Then we're going to have the AI avatar talk about that little short script we created. But overall, that's all you really need to do for your shorts version of this content. Obviously, you can add a bunch more stuff here. But for now, we are going to go ahead and just make sure we do one more thing. Let's go ahead and add a variable here, and we're going to say thumb short. And then from here, all we need to do is hit publish template. And we're going to go ahead and not to add captions because we're formatting it as a vertical orientation. You don't want the captions to look cut off, and we're going to hit publish template. So now that we're back in our Zapier flow, let's go ahead and connect the dots here. So the first step is we're going to go ahead and get a template ID. In order to do so, we're going to go back to Cynthia. We're going to go hit these 3 little ellipses, and we're going to say copy ID. Come back here, and we're going to go ahead and paste our ID. Now, one sad thing about Cynthia is that it doesn't have the ability to automatically grab the variables in the video. Therefore, we're going to have to do a lot of copy and pasting back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and shorten that for you and just do it automatically. So all right, there you go. So I got all the variables from that video. 2 things to point out. First, don't use the brackets in the template data here. It won't be able to read it correctly. And the second thing is make sure you label them so you can understand it when you're over to the Zap, because you could get confused if you just do like 1, 2, 3, and you don't really have any context of what each one means. So to start off, the dish was from that first screen there that essentially was supposed to be the variable text of the dish we're going to be creating, which is going to be the lamb. The intro was the intro script that we created here earlier, and we're going to go ahead and make sure we add no quotations as we don't want that in the captions. The tip of cook was on that second slide there, where essentially we gave a little tip, and then let's go ahead and find cooking tip. Perfect. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same variable. So you can go ahead and see it as text version and as audio version. And then from here, we're going to do expo 1. Luckily, we went ahead and already identified that with star of ingredients. And then the showcase food was the image data. So instead of using the thumbnail image, we're going to go ahead and use the image in video in order to show differentiation between the thumbnail image content and then the video content that can really give diversity to your overall content that you have on the channel. Then we're going to go to part 2 here for expo 2, and then we're going to go expo 3 for part 3. And then finally, for con, we're going to do conclusion. So we're going to add that. Perfect, perfect. And then this is important. We want to make sure we add a callback ID, as this is just stage 1 of an AI automated YouTube channel. There's going to be other zaps associated here. So what we're going to go ahead and call this is cooking long. And then essentially for the callback ID for the other one, we're going to do cooking short. This will make more sense as you jump further into this module. But for now, just go ahead and put a callback ID that you'll recognize. We're going to hit continue here, and we're not going to test the action yet because it's still publishing over on Cynthia. But let's go ahead and build out our second template here, which is going to be for the short form. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is for the long form, let's go ahead and just add a couple of context here when it generates over on the Cynthia side. So we're going to add the dish being created and then do square brackets, and we're going to put long. So I understand when it's being generated that, okay, this is the long form, and then we're going to have the short form over here. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's do the dish being created here, and then let's go ahead and put in square brackets short. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna grab the template ID on Cynthia, and I'm gonna grab the variables from Cynthia. So I went ahead and grabbed the template ID and the 2 variables we're dealing with there, which is the short food and then the thumb short. So short food was obviously that little script we created right before this, and then the thumb short was the image of the thumbnail of the main video. Which is great, is all we need to do is come over here and we can grab it directly. That's already being generated in this flow. I always suggest going with JPEG as it is a smaller file size. From here, we're going to do cooking short as our callback ID. We're going to hit continue here. And let's go ahead and just test both of these actions in order to see if our final version of the content looks good. Just as a side note, when you want to see the processing time, you can go ahead and click this little logo here, and then they'll tell you what % it is at before you can basically click publish and start actively pushing towards different templates or different content towards these templates. So keep that in mind. Don't automatically just push a video towards it because you might get an error. Let it fully generate the template that you just created. Once it is done, you'll be able to see a nice little logo like this. Let's go ahead and test these actions. So I'm going to go ahead and hit test action here. And this is going to be sending all the data towards Cynthia, towards that specific template we just created. And then let's go ahead and test the action for our short version as well. So I'm going to come over here and I will say in progress. That's how you know it's working. Let's test this action as well. And let's see what it looks like on Cynthia's dashboard. To access these videos, just simply click videos right here. And then you will see them currently generating. And as you see, we got our variable of the dish and we got the short and long version. Once these are both generating, let's go ahead and check out both. I'll leave them in the description below so you can check them out personally, and we'll be able to kind of wrap up today's lesson on how to make an AI YouTube channel in this context. So when a video is done processing, you won't see a little load screen here. You'll just get a straight icon. You just can go ahead and click it, and then you can press play. Really cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and share this in our description below so you can check it out yourself. But this is going to be the first step towards making a short version of the YouTube content. All right, so now you know how to build out a specific Zap flow in order to create the content that will then be used on your AI YouTube channel. Make sure to check out the other lessons here, as I'm going to show you how to automatically upload these videos, automatically add them to playlists, thumbnails, and on top of that, add SEO titles and descriptions and so on. So check out the other lessons here, and I'll see you there. Okay, so now that we know how to make the content, let's learn how to automatically upload it, have a thumbnail associated with it, and even go as far as put it to a playlist. As always, the Zap in this tutorial can be found in the description below. So if you want to add it to your own profile, you can go ahead and do it then. Now, the first thing I wanted to show y'all is essentially, instead of having it so maybe you want to have a unique content for 5 days out of the week, instead of creating a Zap flow for every single one of those, as we do here, where it's like a 21 plus block Zap flow, a simple circumvention to this is we could go ahead and create a new Zap. And sadly, since Zapier doesn't allow me to share paths, I'm not allowed to share this, but I'm gonna just show you it through this video. I'm gonna just say multiple day posting. This is a really simple tutorial. You can use this and apply this to a bunch of other stuff. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and do schedule. We're gonna say every day. We're gonna continue, and we're just gonna choose a time of day. So let's just say you want to, every day at 12 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and continue. We're gonna test this. It works perfect. The next most important thing we want to add here is a paths. So essentially what paths is think of it as an if-else thing. So in this context though, all we would need to do is basically find the day of the week and say it exactly matches. And let's say you want to do a specific type of content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. What we can do is do Monday, and then we can go ahead and say, or we do Wednesday, and then we can do another one that says, or we do Friday. And from here, you would just choose the same situation here, and we're going to just say contains, or we can do exactly matches. And essentially what this can do is, and let's make sure we spell Wednesday correct, WEDNSD. What you'll notice is that, so it will trigger every single day. On every single day of the week, that flow will trigger. This right here will trigger. Then it's going to go jump into paths and be like, okay, well, does the day of the week match Wednesday, which is today? And if it does, then continue down the Zapier flow. So what we built in the previous lesson, you can go ahead and add that Zapier flow down here. Therefore, this allows you essentially to build out a path B. So maybe every Tuesday and Thursday, you want a different Zapier flow and different piece of content. So then you can then build it out there. I hope that made sense. I wanted to show you this real quick so you didn't have to basically build out, 5 or 6 different Zapier flows if you want different pieces of content on this AI YouTube channel. But for now, go ahead and use this method for basically creating a social media content scheduling, agenda. Okay, so let's jump into the first part of this tutorial past that, which is going to be our video publisher. So we're going to hit new Zap here, and we're going to call this Zap video publisher. And essentially, the reason we need to make a video publisher and can't keep it in the same Zap is that Cynthia, it takes time for those videos to process. So what we need to do is do Cynthia, new video is ready. And then we're going to continue here, continue here. We're going to test this trigger. And this is going to be the video publisher for the long form content. So I'm going to go ahead and add long here. And it found a video. The callback ID is short. That's not what we're looking for here. Let's see if we can find the one that we had earlier. Yep, cooking long, perfect. So essentially that's why we made the callback ID earlier, is so we can go ahead and make a Zapier specific to this type of content when publishing. So we're going to hit continue here. We're going to go ahead and choose the callback ID. It exactly matches cooking long. So every single time a new video is ready in Cynthia, it goes to this flow, but then it recognizes that, hey, only let cooking long callback IDs through. So we're going to hit continue here. And then we're going to do the first step here, which is going to be creating a YouTube title. So in order to do so, we're going to do ChatGPT. This is also why it's important to make sure you add a title that's relevant or description that's relevant in the Cynthia video, as we're going to call upon this for this specific use case. Went ahead and generated our prompt here. We're going to say based on this food dish, and we're going to be able to grab the title from that video. And then we're gonna say generate the following. A YouTube title includes the dish name in it and says tutorial on how to cook it, limited to 10 words max. Perfect. And because of the fact we're dealing with content here, we're gonna up our models to GPT-4. Then we're going to give a memory key of YT food long, and then let's go ahead and see what kind of title it comes up with. Okay, there we go. So easy lamb biryani recipe. I'm probably butchering how you say that. Step-by-step guide cooking tutorial. From here, let's get rid of those quotations using a formatter block. Just go ahead and hit formatter. We're going to choose the event of text as we are manipulating text here, and the input or the function we're going to be doing is replace. Let's go ahead and input the output that we have here. Let's find the quotation marks, replace it with empty space. We're going to test that action. From there, we're going to go ahead and add a storage block. This is going to be pretty important here, so make sure you add the storage block here, because one thing I got to point out is that currently Zapier does not allow you to access thumbnail API or playlist API. So we're going to be using another software for automation, but luckily for us, what we're doing is going to be completely free to use this software. So that's going to be pretty nice. So therefore, we're going to have to create this storage block here to grab this YouTube title. This will make more sense later on tutorial. So we're going to YouTube title. We're going to choose an event. We're going to say set value. We're going to continue. We're going to do YouTube food title. And then we're going to go ahead and grab our formatted text here. We're going to continue. We're going to test that action. All right, now we're going to add a ChatGPT block again. And we're going to make sure we do conversation as always. And for this one, let's go ahead and generate a prompt. Okay, so we're going to say based on this YouTube title, let's grab the formatted title here. We're going to do parentheses, and we're going to say generate the following. YouTube description includes the dish name, and it says the tutorial on cooking this food, max 3 sentences. As always, whatever the context of your niche is and the what you're trying to achieve in your niche, make sure you fill it out there. This is for this example. We're going to do food descript. And then from here, we're just going to hit continue, and we're going to test this action. There we go. So we have a nice little description here. Let's go ahead and add that formatter block again in order to ensure that we're not dealing with these nuisances of quotation marks. So we're going to do formatter, and all we need to do simply is add the different input here. So instead of the title, we're just looking for the description that was just made. We're going to continue here, and we're going to retest this action. From here, we're going to go ahead and add our last block for this zap. We're going to do YouTube. And for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to go ahead and use our current YouTube channel here at WebCafe AI. Make sure to stay tuned there. We do a bunch of free resources. If you haven't already, we're going to choose English YouTube. We're going to hit continue. And we're just going to fill in these variables here. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to do the title as the formatted title that we just had. One thing that's very important that you add, as this is going to be our way to grab the correct video later on in the API for the thumbnail, we're going to go ahead and add a little, some type of separator, and then just add some type of consistent, universal type of dictation. So for our example, let's just use our channel name. We're going to say Web Cafe Cooking. And then from here, we're going to add the description that we just created from this text formatter. What I would do then is in your description, you can go ahead and add even more details here. So let's go ahead and grab the storage variables that we made in our first zap and add them here. In order to do so, we're going to hit storage. Perfect. And then we're going to do a different event here, and we're going to say get value. Now, if you remember these, all we need to do is come down here to action, and we're going to grab our ingredients. We're going to do key is ingredients. Continue, test action, and then we should be able to grab the ingredients that we made for that specific video. There we go. So what we can do then is let's go ahead and grab another value, which is going to be the cooking directions. So we're going to do storage again. Jump back over to that original zap. Go ahead and go to action, instructions, choose event. Let's go ahead and get value. Continue. I'm going to use the key that we identified in our first zap here, and then this should be the instructions. So now what we can do is not only is the description of the video going to be dynamic, but also the ingredients. So we're going to do ingredients, semicolon, and then we're going to go grab that value that we just had there. And then we're going to go just cooking instructions, semicolon, and then grab the other value that we just created there. And then from there, let's go ahead and add one last block here. Just for our purposes, I'm gonna add another ChatGPT block. And we're gonna call this, basically the purpose of this ChatGPT block is we're gonna get like 5, specific hashtags with it. So we're gonna say based on this YouTube title, semicolon, parentheses, and then we can actually add another one, which is gonna be like based on this YouTube, we'll say and YouTube description. Let's go ahead and grab the description that we just formatted here. I say generate, we'll say 10 hashtags, just the hashtags, no text before or after, to increase SEO on YouTube. All right, there we're gonna go ahead and upload our model to GPT-4. And then we're just gonna do hashtag, we'll just do hash food. And then let's see what it looks like. We may need to restructure our input so our output looks a little bit better, but let's see what it looks like for now. All right, perfect. That is actually what we would want. So then we can go ahead and grab the hashtags we just created there. Let's add them to the bottom of the video. And now every single one of our videos is gonna have unique hashtags that are specific to the topic that's being discussed here. Finally, let's go ahead and add the actual video itself. So let's make sure we do that, which is going to be temporary download URL. For now, you can choose your privacy status. I'm going to go ahead and put private. You could do automatically public, which you probably want to do. And then we can choose a time to publish, which you don't really need to do. You could add tags if you want to, and whether or not to notify subscribers. I'm going to say false for now. And we have officially created our YouTube publisher. So I'm going to skip that test for now. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the next stage of this tutorial, and we're going to learn how to automatically upload a thumbnail to this YouTube video. All right, to do so, we're going to go ahead and create a news app. We're going to call this news app thumbnail. Just say thumbnail auto. You probably want to put in brackets whatever the specific thumbnail is for whatever specific YouTube video. But since we're dealing with the same piece of content here, we're just going to do thumbnail auto. And then we're going to choose the trigger of YouTube. In here, we're going to go ahead and say new video in channel. Continue. We're going to choose our channel here. And let it say continue here. And then the channel ID is essentially, you can find that on your YouTube channel. In order to find that, all you do is simply come to your YouTube homepage here. And let's just copy this right here. Jump it back over here, just simply press that, continue, and then let's test it. There you go. So this is the most recent video here, not too relevant for us. So we're gonna go ahead and hit continue, but it did find a specific YouTube video that was on that channel. Now we're gonna add a filter function here. And this is why it was important that you added earlier that, consistent or fixed piece of text on your YouTube title, as we're gonna find that right now. We're gonna say only continue if title contains, and then we had web cafe cooking. Obviously right now, it's not going to find it because I didn't upload it. But for your reference, that is that little piece of title information that we put on the previous zap. We're going to go ahead and continue here. And then we got to do a couple of stuff. So we're going to add the banner bear ID. So actually, we're going to do storage. All right, we're going to say get value. And then if you're not sure what I'm talking about here, this is when we did the storage of the banner bear ID right here. And essentially, we used the key of cook thumb. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that, and we're gonna hit continue. We're gonna test this action. All right, perfect. So I was able to find the banner bear ID. That's exactly what we wanted. We're gonna add another storage variable here, or storage block here. And then the purpose of this storage block is to get the YouTube title's name that we're dealing with here. So we're gonna say get value. And then if you remember, we made it in the previous app we just created here, which can be the YouTube title. We're gonna go ahead and grab it right here. And then we're gonna do actions, continue, and then paste it there, continue. Now this may seem a little complex. You're just like, all we need to do is upload a thumbnail. Why is this so complex? It's because we have to kind of work around Zapier's API and its limitations. It currently doesn't allow you to automatically upload thumbnails, but we still want to do it. So we basically built out this kind of, workaround process. So it works. It just takes a little bit extra steps. From here, now that we have the YouTube title, we can go ahead and make another block. This next block is going to be calling banner bear here. Not generate banners, do banner bear. And then essentially what we're doing is we're going to be finding the image that we just created with its ID. And obviously with the earlier one, we essentially already kind of did that by having the storage there. So we're going to continue the image ID. And then remember in that storage earlier we're going to want to go ahead and do custom, boom, and then the ID right here. Or actually not the ID there, we're going to do value because we're looking at the value of the key. Continue test action, and should be able to find that image. All right, perfect. In order to ensure that we're correct here, we can go ahead and copy that. And in a new tab, as you see here, we have the thumbnail. From here, let's go ahead and add another block. And this next block is going to be uploading the thumbnail with this specific name to our Google Drive. So I'm going to make sure to do Google Drive. And we're going to go ahead and change. We're going to do a event of upload file. And what's great about files is we can go ahead and name them as long as we want, which is going to be very helpful. So we're going to go ahead and choose our courses account here. And I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. All right, so I went ahead and named the folder into our courses folder. And then from there, I wanted to put into the YouTube course folder. This is where we're going to be uploading the file. This is important. You obviously want to designate into a folder so we can later grab this image in another software. So the file that we're going to want to deal with is going to be the banner bear file, which is going to do the image JPEG. And then on top of that, the most important part here is going to be the file name. So for us, the file name is as simple as this. We're going to grab the YouTube title. We're going to do the same separator. You want to make sure this is exactly how whatever you uploaded, whatever the upload title is, you want to make sure this is exact. So we're going to do web cafe cooking, and then perfect. We can go ahead and test that action, and then that should automatically upload this thumbnail into this Google Drive folder with that specific name. And as you see, it has. Great. So it has the name of the YouTube video, which is going to be perfect, as we're going to grab that in our next little automation here. Okay, so when it comes to Zapier API, that's the max we can go to when it comes to uploading the thumbnail automatically. Now we need to jump into a different type of automation software called Pipedream. I went ahead and linked this down below as well. What's great about this is that for our specific use case here, you're not going to pay any extra money. You can use the free version of this and still achieve what you're trying to do with the software. Essentially is we're going to be grabbing that file from the Google Drive and then automatically uploading it to the YouTube video that just got published on your YouTube channel. So once you make your account, you're going to come to a stage like this. We're just going to come up here to new. And essentially what we're going to be looking for is a trigger of YouTube data API. I will say that this software is not as user-friendly, but this is what's going to allow us to essentially do this process. We're going to choose new video in channel. And then we can go ahead and choose, for me, it's English. Make sure you connect your channel here. This is how often it's going to basically search for a new video. Typically, you can leave this at 15 minutes, which is fine. I'm gonna just leave it at 1 as we're gonna be testing a lot here. And then essentially, let's grab our channel ID. As I said before, you just come back over here. This is your channel ID. And then we go ahead and paste that there. I'm gonna say create source. I'm gonna rename this to thumb automatic. All right, perfect. And then let's go ahead and build this out a little bit. So first thing we wanna add is a filter, as we want to make sure that we are dealing with the correct YouTube video. And essentially we're going to be choosing continue execution if conditions are met. And we're going to go ahead and choose the initial value, which is going to be the YouTube video here. So let's make sure I load that YouTube video real quick. We're going to say create source. All right, we're going to go ahead and just grab one of our videos here, as obviously this isn't going to basically do the whole flow. It's going to stop at this first part, but we're going to be able to still build it out. And then once we do one final swing through, you're going to see the whole process come together. But from now, we're going to go ahead and make sure to choose our initial value is going to be the title of the video. And then the second value is going to be basically that web cafe cooking. Remember that fixed variable. This is where that comes into play, because now it knows that if web cafe cooking is in the title, we're going to continue going down this flow as this thumbnail applies to that specific video. But essentially that is checking if it's in the title here. We're going to test that. This should fail because obviously it isn't in this title. All right, so the flow would have exited in that context. That's fine. The next block I want to add here is a delay block. I like doing this because of the fact that sometimes when a new video is uploaded, I want to give it like at least a minute or so that if it's trying to grab the image that's uploaded to the Google Drive, that it's actually been fully uploaded, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and add a delay here. We're going to do 2, and then we're going to choose minutes. All right. And you don't really need to test that. I mean, end of the day, of course, it's going to understand a delay. So we're going to add another block here. And this is going to be a Google Drive block. Obviously, connect your Google Drive to this software. And we're going to want to go ahead and say find file. There we go here. And then here, we're going to go ahead and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and add a search name. We're going to add a drive. For the search name, that is going to be the title. And then in this context, it's not going to be able to find this title, but in the context of having it where we named the specific file. So for example, let's just show you, for example, come back over here. And obviously, I'm going to go ahead and just copy this. And what you'll notice is that, let's say we just do the search name as that, right? It should be able to find that one file right there. There you go. I just realized that I had the wrong account connected here. I'm going to add my courses. This is my main account. I'm going to add my courses account so it can find that file. All right, so now my courses account is connected. Let's go ahead and try this test again. There you go. It found one file, but for the context of obviously we don't want to always come in here and just search it. Let's go ahead and change that back to the YouTube title. And we're going to go ahead and add another block here. And we're going to go ahead and say YouTube data, and then we're going to go ahead and say thumbnail, and this should show up, upload thumbnail, perfect. And then what we need to do here, we're going to go ahead and choose our account. The video ID is obviously going to be, the new channel video. So let's go ahead and do enter custom expression, and we're going to go do video ID, and then we're going to do file URL. Now this is important as well, is we're going to go ahead and basically add the file URL like this. We're gonna have the link. Essentially, this is a link that is gonna be able to be downloadable. So we're gonna do that. And then we wanna make sure that we change this. So essentially, we need to add the ID of the image. And what that is in this context is this right here. So we know that that link is formatted like that every single time. So once we have found our image file, we can go ahead and just click ID here. And then let's add the second half of that little link there. And boom. That should now be able to upload automatically that thumbnail to that YouTube channel. Let's go ahead and add our last step here, which is going to be YouTube. And then this would just be playlist. And all you would need to do here is add playlist items. And then essentially from here, we would choose our account. You would choose your playlist ID, which is going to be, obviously very simple. So let's just say we're just doing masteringBotBrew.io, and then the video ID, which you can just grab here. So I'm going to copy that, come down here to video ID, boom. Or finally it wants to show up. We'll go ahead and do video ID here. And then all we need to do then is press deploy. And then we have now created the flow to automatically upload a thumbnail and automatically upload a playlist item. Don't worry. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you this entire thing working flawlessly. But now you've officially created the ability to automatically upload a thumbnail and add it to a playlist through this process. Okay, so let's create our final zap in today's tutorial, which is going to be the short publisher. So we're going to say new zap. And what's great about the short publisher is a lot of times it's just universal. So we're just going to say short universal. So any type of short could probably go through this flow. If you have multiple types of forms of content, you can go and push your shorts through this. So we're going to go ahead and say short universal. And we're going to do the trigger of Cynthia as we're dealing with the AI video here. We're going to say new video is ready, continue, and then we'll let that test this action. Add a filter block here. And then as always, you're going to choose your callback ID, contains, or exactly matches. And then let's make sure we find the right video that we labeled earlier. So it should be cooking short from my understanding. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and put our callback ID here. And we're going to go ahead and continue, and this should work. Perfect. The next block we need to add here is Creatomate. So essentially Creatomate is going to be the one that allows us to automatically render this in the correct format for YouTube. And we're going to go ahead and choose whatever we have access to right now. And we're going to say create a single render. Continue, continue. And then I'm going to just jump over to Creatomate real quick so you see what it looks like. In Creatomate, we can go ahead and find that in the description as well. All you want to do is create a new render here. So we hit new, and then you want to go to fundamentals, And then there should be either crop with resize with blur or just a regular format. This one should work sufficient. There's also just featured here. And you can choose your different formats, but specifically for our use case, we're just going to be looking towards setting it up so it's in vertical format like this. And then once you set up that render, as you see here, we'll be able to grab that into Zapier. So all we need to do is grab our shorts and templates, just crop and resize video for us. The video is going to be that temporary download URL. All right, perfect. So we can go ahead and we don't have to do any of this. We can just add the video there. We're going to hit continue, and we don't even need to test the action. We're going to add a new block here for ChatGPT. And then we're going to go ahead and do conversation. And this is basically where we're going to be creating the title and description for our short. So we're going to say, based on this cooking tutorial, we're going to grab that title from the Cynthia video, generate the following shorts title, includes the dish name in it, and says tutorial on how to cook, limit the words to 9 maximum. I'm going to up my model here to GPT-4, and then let's go ahead and add a memory key and see what this looks like. All right, there we go. So we have our short title. Let's add that formatter block that we know well by now. We're going to add that formatter just to get rid of those quotations. So we're going to say event text. We hit continue here. We're going to do transform. We're going to hit replace. And then obviously we're going to want to find the input that we just had there. To find the quotation marks, replace them with empty space. And then from here, let's go ahead and add our YouTube block. So we can go ahead and post this YouTube short. Obviously, what you want to do is make sure that all your content for shorts are less than 60 seconds. If it isn't, it's not going to post as a short. Plus, you got to make sure you add that formatter block there, as that's going to allow it to be rendered correctly. From now, we're going to go ahead and choose our English channel. We're going to hit continue here. And then we're going to go ahead and add our title, which is what we just formatted. All right, let's go ahead and let this work out. All right, so we added our formatted title. What I suggest you to do is add some fixed hashtags here, such as cooking or whatever is relevant to your niche. Refer to older tutorials on what hashtags fit you best, but add some fixed hashtags here, as you want to make sure to start establishing authority in your niche. So I'm going to just do hashtag cooking. And then typically for YouTube short descriptions, they're not too important. So what I usually do is just do subscribe for more. And then if you have any relevant links, you can go ahead and add them there. But for now, we're just going to have the simple description of subscribe for more. Obviously, our title is not going to be the Cynthia title. It's going to be the fully rendered version. So let's go ahead and render it real quick. In order to do so, I'm just going to come up here and hit test action. Once that has tested the action here, we'll be able to grab the video straight from this, and we're going to be able to do the URL, I believe. And then once we have that, and once you've uploaded the URL, you can choose your privacy status. So I'm going to do private for now. You can add tags if you want, and you can notify subscribers. But for now, you have officially set up the short universal. So anytime you upload a piece of content, it will also get this nice little short saying, hey, people, go check out this video that we just created. This is a nice way to, leverage YouTube's platform to post in different types of content to get the most amount of audience attraction. Okay, so I'm going to start publishing all of these different zaps here, and we're going to connect the entire cake here. And let's see what it comes up to be. All right, so in order to ensure that it just posts manually, I'm going to change this trigger real quick to Basecamp. Basecamp's a CRM, but I use it sometimes just to manually push out videos, which may be useful to you if you want to just kind of push out a lot of content at once. So I'm going to just do the trigger of new to do, and then you'll see what that kind of looks like over on my Basecamp backend. So it is live. Now we have it. So basically when I make a new to do in Basecamp, it will trigger the entire flow to build out that content that we just created in that earlier lesson. But for now, we have 3 zaps active. We have the AI YouTube channel. This is what's going to create the content. We have the short universal. So when the content is ready, they'll post it as a short. And then we have the thumbnail auto, which will essentially push this out so that when the YouTube video is uploaded, it will automatically add a thumbnail as well. And lastly, the last one I need to activate is going to be the video publisher for long, so that when the video is ready in the long form of the content, that it automatically publishes. All right, so now that all these dots are connected, this is going to be the manual trigger. Typically, you would just do the scheduler. So at 12 p.m., it would automatically do what I'm about to do right here. But I want to manually trigger it so I can just show you the entire process and how it's interconnected. So let's just go ahead and put in the simple word of go. And let's see what Zapier can do with YouTube. Okay, to start off, the first stage of our flow that kicks off everything is going to be our AI YouTube channel. What we got to do is we can come over here to history, and we'll be able to see if it's active. There we go. It is playing, and you can obviously watch this live if you choose to do so. But let's go ahead and let it play out the first stage of this new automation. Scampy Linguini. Pretty interesting stuff. Holy shit, dude. All right, perfect. As you see here, it is success. So the next step in this flow was it was going to jump the videos over to Cynthia. And as you see here, they've already generated for me, and we have our short version and our long version. And before we even jump over to YouTube to see what that would look like, let's jump back a little bit and make sure that our other flows are working correctly. So the first flow I want to check here is going to be the short version. All right, so let's jump over to Short Universal. If we went ahead and hit history here, all right, perfect. It was success. And obviously we're going to have a waiting here because the filter obviously was triggered for the long form, but it was success for that short version. Let's go ahead and see how the long version publisher is going. So we're going to go ahead and hit history here. And as you see, there is success as well. Perfect. So both have worked effectively here. And then the final thing we should check here is the thumbnail. But first, let's jump over to YouTube. All right, as you see, we have both versions uploaded. That's really good stuff here. I have it as private right now, but I'm going to go ahead and change this to unlisted. And I'm going to have this down below in the description so you can go ahead and watch these live on the YouTube channel. But as you see here, if I want my little pencil mark here, we got our AI generated title with our description just for the short version. Remember, we just put subscribe for more. If we jump over to the long form content, we got the ingredients put in there. We got the cooking instructions. We have the hashtag specific to the dish we are cooking here. Then we have the AI generated description, the AI generated title. And then finally, we would need to have the playlist and thumbnail uploaded. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit more time to see that come up as well. All right, perfect. As you see over there, it automatically uploaded the thumbnail as well, and we are good to go. And if you had a specific playlist you wanted to add as well, you could have had that automatically put into a playlist on top of that. So maybe in this context, you would have a playlist for overall cooking videos for specific recipes. Congratulations, you have officially connected all the dots. We have officially created a flow that is specific for creating the content. Now we have automatically uploaded a thumbnail, uploaded to a playlist, uploaded AI generated titles and descriptions and so on. Now you see how it's all interconnected and how we can use it in our YouTube AI automated channel today. As always, all the Zapiers can be found below in the description. If you have any issues running this, go ahead and leave some comments on this video. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to the next lesson here. We're going to essentially show you here today how to take any of the content you produce and generate it in any type of language such as German, Spanish, Korean, and so on. This can be a powerful tool because maybe you want to launch multiple YouTube channels on the same niche, but provide it in different languages, therefore having a broader reach on the audience that you can gather and get subscribed to. As always, you can find these zapped down below, but we're going to be jumping through how to do this in today's video. Lucky for us, to do this process is actually a lot more simple than you would think. All we need to do is take our original flow. So we can take our YouTube channel here, and I'm just going to go ahead and say duplicate. And then we just need to change a little bit of the fine tuning on the initial prompts, and we'll be able to achieve a different languaged channel. And for today's tutorial, we're just going to go ahead, if I can speak, we're going to go ahead and just rename it to a YouTube channel. We're going to say German, semi bracket, so it knows that the type of content that's being produced here is going to be German oriented content. And then all we need to do, surprising enough, since we've already fine-tuned the chat and we understand that every single one of these outputs is reliable, all you need to do to every single one of your GPT blocks is add a parameter here called language, and we're going to call it German. And what you'll notice is by doing something as simple as that and hitting continue and then retesting the action, the output will be in German. So as you see here, we got Gulaschsuppe, which honestly I probably butchered. Over here, just Google Translate, put in German here, and then goulash soup is the food item it chose for this specific video. From here, all you need to do is add that little small parameter there to every single one of the GPT blocks, and you'll now officially create a content piece that is going to be in German. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to every single one of these blocks here, and I'm going to add the context that we want this in German, and then on top of that, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Cynthia to make sure that our template can handle German. All right, so I went ahead and updated all these GPT blocks to German. I'm going to hit publish here. And then if you have any fixed text, such as in the title or the description, make sure you update that with the correct language that you want to produce here. So now this entire video is formatted out to be for German. Let's go ahead and do the same thing for Cynthia. In order to do so, all we need to do is take the template we already created. which would be the cooking food template. And we're going to go ahead and hit duplicate. And then all we would need to do is add little square brackets for our reference that, hey, this is the German version of the template. And then what you need to do here essentially is, instead of English US, you're going to put German. And we can do apply to all female voice avatars. And then this should, in theory, so sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. So it seems like in this context, I'm going to go ahead and have to add German here as well. So let me go ahead and add this to every single one of the avatars here. All right, I went ahead and added it to all the avatars here. And here's what's great. Basically, all the variable text that you see here and all the variable inputs for voice, they're now going to be in German, because that's essentially the data that we're pushing forward to this template. The only other thing you would need to start changing is going to be the fixed text like you see here, which are in English. You would want to make that into German, as obviously this is going to be a German oriented video. That's always great. But for now, you have officially connected a German run Zap for German content to a German template by doing these simple steps. That's all it really takes to make a different language channel for AI automation. Now you would just need to build out the previous Zaps that you saw, tailor them for German, and tailor everything around the templates for German and Cynthia, and so on. Obviously, you can choose any language here. It could be Japanese, Hindi, and so on. But for today's video, we just went over the example of the context if it was a German video. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to the module on how to leverage AI automation if you're an influencer. In this video, we're going to be diving into transcribing your specific videos and converting them to SRT files. Now, I didn't do this live. I went ahead and grabbed one of my videos from my YouTube channel just to show you the type of content you could expect if you were to subscribe to that free resource. But without further ado, let's see you in that video. Welcome back to Web Cafe AI, where we do daily ChatGPT videos. In today's video, we're going to learn how to take an audio file, automatically transcribe it, use GPT to make sure that the wording is correct in the audio file, and then take it one step further and make a title and description based off that transcript. Now, I might look a little burnt, so leave a like if you feel like I need to wear sunscreen next time I go to the beach. But for now, let's go to jump into today's tutorial, where we're going to be looking at essentially a Zap that I already created. I have already re-recorded this video, but sadly, my recording had paused halfway through, so I'm redoing the video. No big deal. So we're going to go ahead and start with a simple new file to folder, with the idea essentially being that when you create a video and you convert it down to an audio file, we're going to drag it in there and then begin the whole Zapier. Now, if you're not familiar with GBT and Zap, make sure to check out the video right there that goes how to implement ChatGPT and Zapier. But for now, we can go ahead and start this flow by getting our video. The video I'm going to be using is going to be a landing page video that I have, which is around 34 seconds long. If you're not familiar how to convert a video to an audio file, at least on Mac, all you have to do is come to export as. We're going to do audio only, and then I'm just going to rename this to GPT audio. And then from there, now we have the audio file we can use for this process. So I went ahead and uploaded that audio file to the folder that we're referencing in the Zap. Now let's go ahead and start looking at how to use that audio file. So it went ahead and uploaded. I suggest using a audio file over a video file because it takes much longer to upload video files because they're so big. But from now, we're going to go ahead and do OpenAI. We're going to say create transcript, continue. And then for the file, you see you can use video, but I really suggest using audio because it's just a lot faster. And then what we're going to use is the file variable from the file we just uploaded. And then the prompt is very special. So for me, at least, an issue I've been running into when I'm transcribing my videos is when the audio picks up ChatGPT, it misspells it a lot. So what I can do here is that any reference to ChatGPT should be spelled as ChatGPT. And then what you can do obviously is make a list of words that maybe that you notice in your business or your personal videos, gets misspelled a lot, which is annoying. But with GBT and Whisper API, we're able to really fine tune it so we don't have to go back and look through the whole transcript and reorganize it and basically write words that are misspelled. From here, you can choose your file format. I would suggest either text or SRT. I'm gonna do SRT, and then the language audio is gonna be English. As you see here, they want to format it like this. And if you want to see how to format maybe in your specific language, just go ahead and click that link there, and you can kind of scroll through this Wikipedia page. But from here, all we have to do is hit continue and test action. All right, boom. As you see here, we have our transcript transcribed. And then essentially you can see ChatGPT is spelled correctly. If there's any reference to web cafe, sometimes that's not misspelled correctly, so I could add that to the prompt as well. But for the purposes of the video, we have our transcript. But now we're going to want to be able to push this transcript to something like a Google Doc so that that data is saved and we don't have to come back to this specific flow to find it, right? So we're going to do Google Doc. We're going to append to text document. You could create a new document from this text. And the purposes of this video, we're going to just use that event. We're going to choose the courses account. And then I have already created a document for this purpose, which I can find in my YouTube Zaps folder. And basically what I do essentially is you want to find the folder that is associated with the document you created if you're going through my route. And then what you can do is then find the document name. By doing this, you can't simply type in the document name because what's actually being grabbed by Zapier isn't the document name. It's the underlying API reference token for them that they essentially are able to then grab the data that I'm about to push forward into the document. So then all you have to do is put in the text that was generated here and hit continue and then test that action. All right, it looks like it worked. Coming over here, as you see, it is not formatted perfectly. Obviously, we can go into the original document that we created over here and we can add HTML to this block in order to separate it and have it indented. I go over this a lot in other videos on my channel, so I encourage you to check out those videos. But for the purposes of the video, we have gone ahead and grabbed the text or the transcript and pushed it forward to a Google Doc that can now be exported as XYZ. Now I want to show you something pretty cool. Let's go ahead and take that transcript and take it one step further and create a YouTube title and description. So we're going to use the ChatGPT block, we're going to hit conversation, and then we're going to go ahead and put in the initial transcript. But first we're going to do this. Based on this YouTube transcript, we do shift and enter, generate a YouTube title and description. And then as always, we want to make sure we up our model here to GPT-4. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, perfect. And then everything else we can keep as the default. We're going to go ahead and continue here, hit test action. And one thing I want to point out here is that I do have intentions here at Web Cafe to launch a course that is very specific to YouTube, how to leverage, completely AI automated YouTube channels, but also use YouTube as a way, like stuff like what we're doing here, and basically input, videos and get transcripts, automatic thumbnails, automatic descriptions, hashtags, keywords, everything you can think of. We do plan on doing that here at Web Cafe, so make sure to subscribe, stay tuned, and get ready for a YouTube and ChatGPT course to be released. But from here, as you see, we went ahead and got our transcript, and then we were able to get our title and a detail based off that transcript. Now, I could go from here and format that title and transcript so we can separate it, remove title, remove description, then use it as a way to upload a video. But for the purposes of this tutorial, I just wanted to show you how to take a video, make it into an audio file, and then take that audio file, put it into Whisper's API through OpenAI, and then on top of that, use ChatGPT to leverage it to make a title and description. If you feel like you've learned something, make sure to check out that playlist over there. We go over a bunch of ChatGPT and Zapier automations. If you like this kind of content on this channel, make sure to let me know, and put in the comments if there's anything else you want me to look at when it comes to these two apps. Maybe you want me to do more Gmail oriented Zapiers, whatever it is, let me know. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. All right, now let's see how we can leverage ChatGPT in order to script write possible content we want to do for our YouTube channel. As always, you can grab the prompts down in the description below in that nicely formatted PDF. But let's go ahead and jump into our first prompt here, which is going to be YouTube personal experiences into engaging scripts. Let's go ahead and just copy the prompt here, jump over to GPT. Here we're going to paste, and then let's go ahead and just have GPT input the variable input and example variable. Let's see how it wants this to be formatted. You see here, it generates kind of like an outline of how to approach the video, even giving you the dialogue. Now, in this context, you could even take this further by saying, generate more backstory. So this is more if your niche is like storytelling, or maybe you want to dive into a specific problem that you're going to provide a solution for, and you want more context of maybe how to like frame it better for your audience. As you see here, we're going to get an extended backstory for this context, which was learning how to code. And it gives you basically all the different little nuances of what you would want on your YouTube channel, such as the host, on screen what's happening, young Alex signing up for a course online, and the different ways of sectioning off for that specific YouTube script. The next prompt we're going to be looking at here is going to be creating a YouTube mini-series. We're going to go ahead and paste that in here, and then we're going to say fill in with an example storyline. And then we're going to go ahead and let's see, GPT likes to do this. We're going to say, looks like our storyline is going to be a group of friends, childhood friends, now in their late 20s, reunite in their small hometown to save local failing library. And then as you see here, I mean, this gets very, very descriptive and intricate on the specifics here. And you're going to be able to build out entire mini series for your YouTube channel if this fits your specific niche. You can also think of this in different contexts. So maybe you're more of a, comedy oriented YouTube channel. You can think of different skits you could do with ChatGPT. For this context, you can even have, for this one, it points out when an episode is done, leaving with a cliffhanger. And as you see here, we can basically say, continue to episode 2. And then this will start generating episode 2 based off your original premises. The next prompt we're going to look at here is going to be scripting a YouTube documentary. So there's context, whether you're a crime podcast or whatever the context is, this could be very beneficial to structure your documentary type niche. I'll paste this here. I'm going to up my model to GPT-4, and we're going to say fill in with example variable. And then the issue we're going to be looking at is the plastic pollution in marine life. And let's see how it would organize this kind of documentary. Okay, so as you see here, it has some structuring here with the opening scene, with the narrator, and then introducing the problem, interview with marine biologist, testimonials of environmental activists, and so on. So this gives you like a broad outline of how you could structure a possible documentary, depending on the context that you provide. Finally, and maybe close to home here, the last prompt we got going on here is scripting an educational YouTube video. And due to the fact that a big part of this entire course was AI automation, let's do the topic of how to cook pasta. As if you saw those other 2 big lessons, you already know we dived into a whole bunch of stuff when it comes to AI automation when making a food specific niche channel. But for now, let's go ahead and see what it would come up with in this context. All right, so as you see here, it sections it off in parts. So part 1, choosing the pasta, part 2, boiling the pasta. Then we have cooking time, straining the pasta, saucing the pan, and so on. This kind of gives you an overall idea. So maybe if you're more of a influencer-based content channel or an educational channel on specific topics of like how to learn Python, this can give you outlines on how to structure your videos more effectively so you're not doing too much, superfluous information. So now you know how to use ChatGPT and leverage it to build out scripts and outlines for possible YouTube videos and content to be created. Without further ado, I'll see you in the next lesson. Hey, and welcome back to the course. We are going to be going over how to monitor your performance when it comes to AI automation and essentially calculate your costs for specific Zapier runs, for specific OpenAI prompts. And so overall, going to give you a really good resource so you can go ahead and enter your own Zaps into this Excel sheet and figure out your own cost of, running said Zap. So moving on from here, what you'll notice is in this tutorial, we'll be going over specifically an Excel sheet that allows you to input the values of your specific Zaps. So at scale, if you're going to run 50 times, 100 times, how much it would cost you and better understand essentially how you're allocating your money when it comes to AI automation. So let's go ahead and jump over to Zapier. So the Zap we're going to be looking at today is going to be the AI-powered automated Google form entry response. We made this in an earlier lesson, and I'm going to go ahead and use this as the example of, let's say, for example, I wanted to know, if I had 100 responses, how much would that cost me, money-wise to have this fully AI automated? So let's go ahead and jump over to the Excel sheet that can be found in the video description. So as you see above me, we have the Excel sheet that can be found in the video description. Go ahead and copy it over to your own Google Drive and use it yourself. But for today's example, we're going to go ahead and use the flow that I showed before. So I'm going to give the example flow. We're going to title it, for my reference, form entry response, and then the objective, just so I know for, if I keep adding more flows here, to receive a customer inquiry. And then we're going to go ahead and figure out how many Zaps this requires and how many tokens, or in this context, what tokens means is every time you send a prompt, for ChatGPT to execute. It will use a certain amount of tokens. This could range between 100, 500, and each one of those tokens are derived of value. So in this context, 1,000 tokens is 2 cents. And then in the context of being on a plan for a month worth of Zapier, it's $58.50 to do 1,500 tasks, which I'll explain right now. So let's go ahead and jump over to Zapier. So the example we're going to be using today is going to be a starter plan for the monthly, $58.50 for around 1,500 tasks. Now that comes out to around 4 cents per zap. Now let's just, for example, let's say you are going to be on the $29.99 for 750. This is all you would have to do. Let's go ahead and jump over to the Excel. So now that we're in the Excel, let's say you had that plan, we would come over here and we would just type in $29.99. And then for the task, we'll put 750. And as you see, we're going to have a rounded out to be 4 cents per zap. And we'll use that in this context. So that's going to be 4 cents per zap. And essentially, every time we run 1,000 tokens, it's going to be 2 cents. So it's going to make a lot more sense once we do an example. So let's go ahead and execute and trigger that flow for the form so we can go ahead and see how to calculate this. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out real quick again. So I'm just going to put James, 1, 2, 3, 4, Spear Street. Okay. And then we're going to put, james@gmail.com. And then we're going to put weekly and fertilization and then 1,000. So I'm going to hit submit. So now that that has been submitted, we're going to go ahead and come back over to the Zapier. So let's go ahead and find that specific Zap. Courses, Zaps. And what you're going to do is you're going to find your Zap that you wanted to test. Obviously, it needs to have been triggered. So in this context, the trigger for this Zap that we created together was just an entry form. Someone filling out the form. And in that context, it'd be someone reaching out to the lawnmower agency to essentially get a quote. So what you want to do over here is just some preferences or some references real quick. Versions is going to be this thing right here. So every time you add to this, save and publish a new one, you're going to have another version, and you can kind of go back in versions if you feel like you messed up too much and you kind of want to come back to the original. Right now, this is just V1 because I've only done it one time in the sense of like I've made no changes to this app. But let's go ahead and come over here to history. So now when you're in history, what you'll see here right down there is going to be all the different times this flow has been run. And in the context of what we just did, this is going to be ours right here. It will give you the dates, the time. So go ahead and click that. And from that, we go ahead and see a lot of nice information here. And let's go ahead and grab the first piece of information for this Excel sheet. So we're going to go to data out. Let's go to data out for these OpenAIs. And as you see, we have the expenditure for this prompt was 89 tokens. And then the expenditure for this prompt, the total tokens was 185. So let's go and do some quick math real quick. We're going to do 89 plus 185. Let's jump back over to the Excel. So just for my sake, we're going to do 189 plus 85. So 274. So what you want to do is you want to come up here, and then this is going to be times because this is how many times you run it essentially. So we're going to type in 274 because in average, we're going to be spending around 274 tokens every time we run this flow. So now let's find out how we find how many zaps this flow expenditure. So let's jump back over to Zapier. Now, if we come back to Zapier, what you'll notice is at the very top, you have the amount of zaps that were expended, which would be 3 in this context. So let's go ahead and enter that back into the Excel. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit 3. So great. Now we have officially figured out how much it would cost to run this flow one time. And as you see, it cost around 13 cents to do that entire flow. So to answer our previous question at the beginning of this video, let's see how much it would cost us to run this 100 times or 100 different entries into the form. And bang, we have our answer. So that would be 300 zaps. That would be around 27,400 tokens with the grand total of around $12.54. And then it gives you even breakdown of it would cost $12 worth of zaps and then around 55 cents worth of tokens. As I said before, earlier in the tutorials, you can see this AI is very cheap, very affordable for what we're trying to do here. And you get to get your answer, which is $12.54. Now, obviously, input, output, whatever your specific flow is on this Excel sheet, it's going to be a great way to understand scaling-wise how much it would cost you. But in this context, that would mean that 100 people filled out this service form, and it would only cost you $12.54. Look how much time you saved. Look how much labor you saved. Just great. Now, let's get a little bit crazy here, and let's make it so we save even more money and how we would do that. And that would just be encompassing lowering our bottom line of how much a Zap costs. So let's assume we got a higher plan. Let's go to the plans real quick. All right, come to the plans. We're going to come back down here, upgrade plan. Let's assume we jump over here, and obviously you wouldn't want to do this unless you needed it. But if you're running a lot of automations, I mean, this may be within your realm here. So let's assume we paid annually. Pay annually. And let's assume we did $39 for 1.5K task. So $39, add a 3, and then add the 1,500, and bang. So now we see very specifically, because we want to have as many decimal points, because you can see we're dealing with fractions of pennies. Every Zap's going to cost us basically around 2 cents. That brings our overall acquisition cost for 100 to $8.55, which in other terms is like 25% reduced, 30% reduced cost on the same task, same automation, so on and so forth. So as you see, if you're really scaling and really growing, you can really lessen your bottom line when it comes to AI automation and what you can achieve here. And let's go ahead and jump back to the presentation. As you see, that is how you monitor your performance. I went ahead and put that Excel sheet in the description so you can go ahead and copy that over to your drive and use that as a nice tool so you understand scaling wise, for your specific task, how much it would cost, and you get a really good ballpark for your financials of, wow, so originally I was paying someone to do this, but now I can just pay $10 a month in the context of how many times it ran. It's great ways to increase or lower your bottom line and overall increase your performance. In the next lesson, I'm going to show you how to optimize your performance in the sense of let's lower the amount of Zap usage. Let's lower the amount of prompt tokens that are even used in the flow to begin with. And I'll see you in that lesson. Hey, and welcome to Optimizing Processes. In this lesson, we're going to be looking at the best way to look at a Zap and understand, how to compartmentalize it and really make it achieve the same thing it's already achieving, but at lower cost. So at scale, you're dealing with less hassle. Now, what we're going to be doing in this lesson is we're going to be looking at this specific Zap here, which uses 4 OpenAI. And essentially the use case here is that I've had it basically build out 4 captions that are specific to the cat niche for cat toys. And as you'll notice, the Zap can be found in the description, but not this large usage Zap. The effectively optimized version of this Zap can be found in the description. So let's go ahead and jump over to our cost Excel sheet so we can see how much this one currently costs. So currently, as we see here, we have basically 5 Zaps that are being used, and around 206 tokens on average is being expenditured for 4 captions to be printed into a Google Doc. At scale, let's see what that would be at 100. And we're looking at around $20 to achieve this Zap 100 times. So let's go ahead and jump over to the Zap so we can kind of get an idea of what we're working with here. So if we jump over to the Zap, we can see essentially 4 different prompts here and a trigger of a new to-do. Basically, Basecamp is a good CRM that I use. I use this new to-do as my way to kind of debug different Zaps and automations. So in this context, I'm just using it so we can just run it and see how it looks. What we have going on here is essentially each prompt is given, give me a Instagram caption that's focused on cat toys, give me 3 hashtags at the end, and then it will print out essentially each one of these prompts is the exact same. And then I've asked it to basically take those prompts and put it into a Google Doc and essentially have it separated. What's really great about Google Docs and the append function is that you can use HTML as well. So this little BR is basically an indentation, a little break in the line. So therefore it doesn't come jumbled into like a hard to read paragraph. Rather, it's a line by line. And as you'll see when we print it over, essentially what it'll look like. So let's go ahead and just run the Zap. Without actually putting the to do, I'm going to go ahead and just do it as a test action so you can kind of see the end result of what we're looking at here. So I'm going to retest this action real quick. Let it go ahead and do that. And then if we go ahead and come over to the doc, we can kind of see what we got going on here. first caption, second caption, third caption, fourth caption. In this context, if you're a social media manager, you want a bunch of captions. Maybe you have a pet product and you just want a bunch of captions. Obviously, we can get crazy here. We could have this automatically already put into a schedule, automatically associated with an image. But just for this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to lessen the amount of Zap usage and OpenAI tokens for achieve the same effect. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this. Let's go back over to the Zap. What do we look at when we're trying to basically debug a Zapier in order to make it so it uses less usage? One would be less blocks. That's a big indicator of how many zaps are going to be used in the process. One other thing I want to point out here real quick, just for your sake, is that you can rename these to whatever you want. So for future reference, if you have really big flows, you can have better organization. But for our sake, let's go ahead and look at how we do this. So obviously, we're using a lot of zaps, a lot of AI, because we're doing 4 different prompts, and then we're using all 4 of those prompts and putting them in here. So instead of using 4 OpenAI prompts, let's go ahead and just do 1. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to delete this guy. I'm going to delete this guy. Delete this guy. Come over here, and we're going to go ahead and re-edit this prompt in order to achieve the same thing, essentially. So we're going to do 4 Instagram captions focused on the cat pet niche, or cat toy niche, and then we're going to go ahead and say 3 hashtags at the end of each caption. And then we're going to do this real quick, list out in number format. See if that helps the idea of 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and do that. Test action. Let that load. And there we go. So essentially, as you see here, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. And in theory, I could take this right away, chuck it in here, and we'd just go like this, right? But let's say for some reason you want to make it a little bit more complex, because you maybe want to have it so it's separated rather than having one big data block. Because in theory, this could be it. I've solved the issue. I have less zaps being used, 1 AI prompt being used. It could be done, and would be using it at a cheaper usage at this point, because we only did 1 AI prompt. We just structured it better. But let's make this a little bit more advanced, and let's go ahead and have it so in the context that you maybe want to separate these into separate data points rather than just one block. This is how you would do it. So you're going to come over here, go to format. You're going to choose text, because we're dealing with text here. And we're going to choose the split text. And then we're going to have the input be the AI or the prompt that we just got. And then the separator is essentially what's going to separate each one into a different data point. Now, what's great here is you can always have sometimes some help. So if you're confused on something in the Zapier, you can go ahead and click something like this, which will lead to a help article. And then it'll give you a little bit more description of what you want to do. So in this context, we may want to use the new line, because it's already separated by a line, if that makes sense, like how it was structured, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then essentially we can test this. And one other thing I forgot to do here is we want to tell it how to separate it, essentially. So we're going to do all separate fields so we get separate data points. So I'm going to retest this real quick. Let it load. And formatting tool is a really great tool in the future for you to use when you want to structure data better. And in this context, as you see, it worked. So each one of these is its own data point now. And what we can do with that is we can come over here, and instead of using the OpenAI, come over here to text formatter, show all options, and look at that. We have parsed it out into separate little data points, which obviously can be really extended to a lot of different use cases. But just for our sake, we're doing it in this use case. So go like that, hit continue, and let's go ahead and test this action. Let that load, and then Let's jump back over to the Google Doc. Look at that. So the Google Doc has gone ahead and printed out all this with our specific captions, our hashtags. Let's go back over. Let's see how much of expenditure that cost us overall. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this Zap. You can name your version if you want to. You don't have to name it at all. And once I publish it, I'm going to go ahead and make that new to-do in the tasker. And then I'm going to come back over here and we're going to go ahead and calculate the overall Zaps. I'm going to go ahead and calculate the overall AI. Then we can kind of see the cost difference. So I'll be right back. Look at that. So if we look at the original Zap here, we have a usage of around 5 Zaps and 206 tokens, coming out to around 20 cents. With the optimized version that we just did, we have 12 cents only being expenditure. Now that might not seem like a lot sense wise, but at scale, you'll see the difference here. So looking at from a $19 to $12, so around 40% saved on your cost. Bottom line, huge, right? So what we've learned from this is essentially you can achieve the same outcome, but the way you go about achieving it is pretty significant, because if you do too many Zaps, too many AI prompts, you can increase your cost by over 40%. So now we can see the power of understanding how to optimize better for your flows. I hope in this process you understand a lot better of how to optimize your Zaps in order to reduce your costs. I mean, we reduced that one by over 40%. That's really great work. So overall, when you plan on using a Zap and you know you're going to use a lot, you know you're going to need it for scaling, it's best to use it and have it so these Zaps run cleanly and it's saving you money. Now we're at the very end of this course. You're coming into the last 2 lessons. I look forward to seeing you there, and I hope you've had a really informational time this entire time this course. I hope you look forward to these last 2 lessons. See you then. Welcome to the final module in this course, where we're going to be wrapping things up and giving a nice little bow over understanding how to use ChatGPT when it comes to YouTube. Now, one thing I want to point out is go ahead and leave a comment below if you have any questions that you have in regards to the course up to this point. Make sure to leave a review, as it really helps me out here at Web Cafe in understanding how to use GPT and YouTube. But overall, the key concepts of what you need to understand when it comes to AI automation is understanding how to leverage it for your best use cases. And as you saw in this tutorials, you were able to use ChatGPT, Cynthia, Banner Bear, Zapier, all of this to expedite the processes of this new AI technology. Before, you would have to manually set up a title, a description, a thumbnail, and so on. But now with ChatGPT, understand that you can use it and leverage it and automate a lot of things you do in your business and daily life, especially when it comes to YouTube. So the next time you plan on doing anything with your YouTube channel, such as adding it to a playlist or replying to a comment, step back and think, hey, can ChatGPT and automation do this for me? And that is an important indicator and understanding to have from here on out when it comes to your YouTube channel. Congratulations as well. You're an early adopter as well. We're only a couple months into this revolution. AI is a brand new technology. People are still trying to understand how to leverage it. People are still trying to educate themselves. And you got yourself early on the ball here when it comes to YouTube and how to leverage ChatGPT with it. And you're going to be able to do a bunch of stuff and get a bunch of views and a bunch of conversions due to the fact that since we're so early here, we're going to be able to soak up a lot of this new niche that is emerging in our markets. So what happens next? I encourage you to check out our other courses here at Web Cafe AI. I have them linked down below. We go over a bunch of other stuff, such as mastering ChatGPT for business, using ChatGPT for Instagram, setting fully AI automated Instagrams, using ChatGPT for a more broad sense in social media management, and a bunch more. I encourage you to check them out, but without further ado, I'll see you in the final lesson of this course. Congratulations, you have completed the course when it comes to ChatGPT and YouTube and fully leveraging AI and this new technology and building fully AI automated channels or leveraging it as a influencer. I encourage you to check out our other resources and other topics that cover ways ChatGPT can be leveraged for your personal or business life. So you want to take your YouTube channel to the next level? Look into ways you can leverage ChatGPT in other ways, such as setting up a fully AI automated Instagram that can then funnel into your YouTube channel and so on. There is multiple ways of where we can use GPT in our business or daily lives. I also encourage you to check out one of our main free resources here at WebCafe AI, which will be our YouTube channel. Here on our YouTube channel, we go over a bunch of stuff when it comes to AI, such as the top 5 tips of ChatGPT and Zapier, why we would use 3.5 model over the 4 model in Zapier. We also go over how AI can help you in leveraging and editing, such as high resolution images, creating AI drone video, and so on. There is a bunch of resources here when it comes to ChatGPT, business, and AI generation. I encourage you to check out our YouTube channel, as this is going to be a completely free resource we provide here at Web Cafe. All right, that's it. You have completed this long course on AI generation when it comes to YouTube. Now I want you to click off of this video. I want you to start your channel today and start implementing the stuff you learned in this entire course, as you're going to find out over time and over length that it is going to be huge returns on your initial knowledge that you've gained here. And what is that? We want to grow together. So check out our other stuff here at Web Cafe. Here at Web Cafe, we are an AI automated agency. So with our clients, we build out AI automation softwares and flows that produce better and effective stuff for their business. But what we plan on doing is planning to release a bunch of educational courses to help you do the same thing for your personal life or your business life. So you're getting industry level education at a fraction of what we would expect the price to be. But without further ado, I'll see you in the next course.